Folks, people, my friends, space friends, all kinds of friends. Okay, now I'm glad I know that. My stream deck's not working again today. Once again, as always, something always has to go wrong, and today it's the stream deck. Love streaming. How y'all doing? Welcome, folks. Good to see ya. It's Monday. Usually I like to do some talking on Monday, so we're gonna talk about games today. Usually I like to talk about Star Citizen, but it's a different kind of week. For those who don't know, I'm sure you've seen some sign of it by now. Bethesda and Microsoft presented us another look at Starfield yesterday. It's a good look. It was a good look. It, I think, cleared up a lot of questions that a lot of people had. It gave us a lot of more comprehensive look at everything the game is aiming to offer over what we saw last year. And I think it looked better than what we had last year as well. So today I want to take you through that. I already did a live showing with the Astro Historian last night. That will go up on the channel later today. Also released a podcast where we talk about everything we saw, but today I want to kind of sit here and like take some time and just pause and talk with you guys about what we see, how it's hitting, how it's landing, and how this compares to other space games. Particularly, I'm going to draw probably a lot of comparisons to Mass Effect, because that's really, I feel like, the most direct comparison to this game, and it kind of sets the bar in my mind for space-based RPGs. So I hope you guys are interested in Starfield. But we're not starting with Starfield. We're going to start with Star Wars. So something else that was shown yesterday was, it's just a CGI trailer, but I thought you guys might be interested. I love Star Wars. I've kind of been off and on with it my whole life, and then Andor really sucked me in, and I've been more interested in it since then. And again, just like Andor, this is another Star Wars project that doesn't involve Jedi or the Force or any of that like magic stuff. So I think it's a lot more interesting as a space game. So we'll look at this trailer. We'll take a look at this. We'll hear thoughts, maybe chat a little bit about it, and then we're going to jump straight into Starfield and go through that for like a solid hour and a half, 2 hours. And if we have time at the end, maybe we'll jump into Star Citizen. Maybe we'll finish this off playing a little bit. Yeah, CGI trailer doesn't really tell us much. Now, what was interesting to me was at the end of this trailer, they actually said they're going to show off gameplay today. So they, for some reason, gave off a CGI trailer, I think probably to build hype. But it makes me feel like they're not that confident in the gameplay that they had to wait another day to show it after, you know, getting this trailer out to build hype. So we'll see what they do. The gameplay they're releasing for this today is going to be going up probably about an hour after my stream ends. So I'll do a reaction video or something on that tomorrow. But for today, thought we'd just check out the trailer. Welcome in, my good folks. How are you all doing today? Cantor, Zatanna, Marcus, Alex, Pedro, Dewstorm, Punji, Cotton. I see Cotton Child of the Night over there, our newest Twitch moderator. Thank you so much, Cotton, for helping us keep the peace out here. Appreciate you. Thank you. Everybody give a big thanks to Cotton in chat there. Also, Holston Coop is still modding, keeping it, holding it down, has been, continues to do so, and resubbed up at 32 months. Thank you, Holston. Let's give one out for the mods. We've also got Frenchie Cat over in the YouTube chat. Our newest YouTube mod has been killing it these days. Love it, dude. Thank you. Appreciate your hard work. Lady Rain Cloud, J-Co, Quick. You think of Spiffing Brit when you think of Todd Howard. That's an interesting one. Shifty, good to see you, dude. Adam and Jelio. What's up, Night Hunter? Diametrix. Drazen. I see Drazen up in here. Another, oh, the oldest of old mods. At this point, Drazen is kind of the grandpa mod. Holding down at the top of the patriarchy. Dex Trenchcoat, how you doing, Sphinx? Not me, Mister. Welcome everybody. Good to see you all in here. We got the usual crew. We're gonna see if anybody from Starfield jumps in here. A little confused by our strange ways. All right, so let's take a look at this trailer real quick with Star Wars, and then we'll jump into Starfield.
There's times. At least that's what I
got this stream deck.
The Empire? They're everywhere. But the world here belongs to the Syndicate.
So I feel like they're kind of just setting this up as like you're a person in the underworld, and this has nothing to do with like a big fabulous. Actually, it does sound like they turned it into a big fabulous hero story, but at least the grunginess of Star Wars seems to shine through here, unlike a lot of the other games.
If I want to survive, I have to play their game. Looks like I'm all in.
She's in here somewhere.
On second thought,
Who here wishes they had just made Star Wars 1313? Is this feel better, or should we have demanded that? Just give us that.
There she is.
Must be clone troopers. Look at that! They miss every shot.
I've been held back my whole life.
Classic.
And now, I just need a chance to finally be free,
I feel it.
wherever that takes me.
It's inspiring, honestly.
Offer you a way out, okay?
Get off my ship, Jalen.
Give me a chance. You're gonna have to trust me. It'll be dangerous, risky. But if you pull this off, you'll never look over your shoulder again.
I feel like if you do something amazing in Star Wars universe, you're always looking over your shoulder. Maybe he means like you'll be hidden? Like nobody will be able to find you?
The underworld shows no mercy. But it's a big galaxy out there. And I'm
Looks
not
beautiful.
risking all.
I mean, it's CGI, but like the designs look beautiful.
Star Wars Outlaws.
So,
coming 2024.
okay. For starters, let's see. The only massive I know is the one that made the Call of Duty games. So, what the heck? What is that? Is that music? Get out of here. Jesus. Don't hit me with that noise. Let's see who Massive is. Because I don't actually know. Is that a new studio? Okay, Massive is the one behind Division. I see. So Ubisoft is the publisher for Division? I thought Ubisoft was the developer. Holy crap, I am Tom Clancy's The Division. Developed by Massive. Okay. Wow. I never realized that. Cool. So like those are pretty good games. I like The Division. I think that the UI, the mechanics, and like the overall atmosphere are really well done. So if they could take their shot at like a story-based game out of Star Wars, that actually sounds kind of cool. Yeah, Massive does a good job. What I'm worried about is that Ubisoft does not. Ubisoft is in so much trouble. I really hope their show today goes well for them. Because like this Avatar game, I hope this is good for them. I hope Outlaws does well for them because they really, really need a pickup. I hope that the new Assassin's Creed is good. Ubisoft's just been dropping it the last decade. Yeah, it looks exciting. We're going to keep an eye on this. Like I said, I'll look at the gameplay tomorrow and probably post something up about that. We can have a talk. But now, how's about some Starfield? This is going to be a lot of stopping and going, so if you hate that, you're probably going to hate me. But I might have like one or two interesting things to say around that time. So let's get into this and see what they have to tell us. Oh God, they better not put NFTs in that. That'd be terrible. I love this intro. It's pretty cool. That was pretty cool. I liked it.
Hey everyone,
What's
thank
up,
you so
Niku?
much for joining us today, and welcome to Bethesda Game Studios. You know, we've been so lucky over the decades to make the kind of games that we love here, and that's thanks to all of you. From the Elder Scrolls to Fallout, we love creating these worlds and playing in them just as much as you do. And throughout all that time, we'd often talk about and dream up the space game.
Trio.
What if we could take that
What's up,
feeling
man?
of being who you want to be and exploring a new world, but set it in space, where you weren't really limited in where you could go or what you could do. And that is Starfield. Obviously, we've come a long way since then with the games we've built, our technology,
Dude,
and all of us here
I
in the
know
studio.
people have like a problem with Bethesda, but just look at that
Or what you
freaking
can
line
do.
of games that they've made.
That is Starfield.
Insane.
Obviously,
Morrowind, Oblivion,
We've come a long
Fallout
way
3,
since then.
Skyrim,
The games
Fallout
we've built, our
4, and then they kind of cut it off before you got really into Fallout 76.
technology, and all of us here in the studio.
No, I think they're proud of 76. I think they're proud of what they've done with it. Obviously, it was a really rough launch, but it sounds like it's got a healthy community and people are really liking it. They're still putting out expansions to it, so good for them on keeping at it. Ken, thank you so much for the super chat, dude. Appreciate you. Hope you enjoy what we're about to see. I think what Todd's saying there at the beginning is super key, though. Clearly, you could see from Mass Effect, those games, like, they had that grand scale, the great opera in space going on, but they really could never scale up like you wanted to. You never felt like the planets were really planets. You never felt like you could actually go to the places you were seeing. It just didn't feel as big as it needed to, and it seems like the technology's progressed enough for Bethesda to take a shot at that.
Done so much together, but well, we've never tried to make a game like this. Today, you'll get to hear from many on the team and see so much of what we think makes our game special. So let's jump in and take a look.
I do think that the flight model is going to be pretty arcadey. They've got to make this really accessible to the largest amount of people, you know?
Starfield is our first new universe in over 25 years, but it's still a Bethesda RPG through and through, where you step into a new world and you get that feeling of unlimited possibilities. But this time, it's not just one world. It's over 1,000 worlds.
All right. First, so I was watching this last night when I was watching this live. Look at the little thing down here. It's interesting to see how, like, this little thing in the middle marks the angle of the sun. It tells you all of the little atmospheric things that you have to worry about. So we're dealing with unique atmospheres and unique sort of sunsets, sunrises. And he also said that these planets actually have an orbit. So, like, this is it's like a pretty solid, dang it. Pretty solid planet simulation. And it sounds like the way that they're building them out actually sounds a lot like what they do in Star Citizen, which, let me see if I can pull that up real quick. They have this method of creating the planets by first making a bunch of procedurally generated tiles that have all different types of height maps and stuff on it. And then they go through and they match those tiles together at random. So the planet is built as you approach it. And then there are POIs placed down, handmade POIs placed down on those procedural tiles. You can see this is kind of a representation of what that looks like. You see you have all these different selections of tiles that you've created, the devs have created, whatever, and they can place them across a planet at random or in some certain way depending on what is going on in the planet in that area. So it seems like that's kind of the way to go forward with making planets. That's the model that has won out. I'd be interested in hearing if Star Citizen did affect the way they were doing planets at all here, if they were able to look at what Star Citizen was doing and kind of build off that system, because this is very similar to what they're doing, but maybe that's just the obvious way to do it. I don't know. Anyways, because I think No Man's Sky was completely handmade and Elite or completely procedural along with Elite, but I might be wrong about that. Anyways, continuing.
It's over 1,000 worlds. Because the choice of where to go, it's not ours, it's yours. And it wasn't until now that we had the technology to create it. From the rocks at your feet, to the mountains in the distance, to the people and creatures that live in these worlds.
Ships will have full
That isn't
interiors,
just a
yeah.
backdrop. That moon is actually there orbiting the planet. Yes, you can visit it too.
He says orbiting, and I don't think there's travel in between planets, but I wonder if that'll change distances or times to travel at all.
We realistically simulate the galaxy around you. Our next-generation lighting model uses real-time global illumination to light the world based on the type of star and the makeup of the planet's atmosphere. We also have an all-new animation system. And of course, you can play it in third person, and you can play it in first person.
Yeah, there's no atmospheric landings. That's a big part of the planet simulation. You're not flying from space down to the ground. You're just going to load into the planet. And like Ken said, that probably means that it's a flat plane made to look spherical or feel spherical. I don't know about that part, but it is. These aren't full on, fly down to the planet, land where you want, go back up. You can click on the planet wherever you want to go. Just can't fly down there.
We love exploration and rewarding it, but you do explore differently in this game given its scale. That usually involves exploring an area you've landed in. You can collect resources, do a mission, and maybe even stumble upon something
Looking at this planet, I would think that you could breathe the air, but it said there's no oxygen here.
unexpected.
Oh, it said 0 oxygen. I think we could go back, actually. The shooting looks better than it did last year. I'm still not sure if it looks absolutely incredible, but it looks better. Yeah, down here you can see negative 11 degrees in temperature, 0.5 gravity, and absolute 0 oxygen. It's not a good place to be if you like oxygen.
We do love stuff and all of the items allowing you to
Yeah, they
pick
will have
everything
big planets.
up.
We'll get
And
to
you
that,
can view
actually.
all that in your data menu.
They have, I think, one or two big
This is the hub
cities.
for everything you're doing, from your skills to your ship, your
Okay, so we've got local time. How much of the planet have you surveyed? That probably means like what plants and stuff have you found. This is pretty interesting. They show you the distance from, I'm guessing, the center of humanity. I'm not sure. Not sure what everything means here. This might be how big your ship is, Class A, crew size 2. 20 light years out from center. I'm not entirely sure. It also says frontier, so that's probably as opposed to being in the central kind of United Colonies area as opposed to out on, well, the frontier. Got certifications, skill points. There's a lot to go on here. A lot of RPG elements, which we'll get to later. Character, level, gun, standard.
missions, and your inventory. We love to pack a ton of detail in every object, from all of your weapons, to spacesuits, to food. We just obsess over the details, and food. We obsess over food.
Might be a range,
when
yeah.
you're done exploring,
I don't think
you
you'd be
can
20
walk back
light
or
years from
fast
the
travel
sun,
to
though.
your ship.
That's really
We
far.
have companions and crew you can take with you. I left Vasco here.
Oh
back
yeah,
at my ship.
Frontier. Frontier is the name of the starting ship. You're right about that. Thank you.
Captain Howard.
And he can even say your name.
Jump distance, yeah.
Let's head out.
Yeah, Jin, name of the ship in the range,
Our mission
probably.
was to convey the wonder and majesty of space exploration, to evoke the romance of the golden age of early spaceflight. And we've been referring to this approach as NASA Punk. This means a design language where the tech is advanced, yet still looks grounded and relatable.
For us, it's that contrast. That's where the visual interest is. Obviously, the NASA, which is the rigid, hard function over style, and then Punk, which is all about style.
God, I love the freaking style. Like there's so much going on. The detail in the armors, I really like that. Mass Effect had great selections of like armor and weapons, but it never really clicked for me. I just couldn't. I didn't feel like there was enough variety in Mass Effect. Everything was so military focused, and maybe that'll be the same here. I feel like as an explorer, it won't be. But Mass Effect was an amazing story for a space game, but it also forced you into the role of being a very hardcore military person. I'm excited to see more of these kind of utility-focused things in a game like this, especially with all those RPG elements mixed into it.
You can see that visual style coming through in your ship. Your ship is your home for you and your crew. And like many of the spaces in our game, it has a slightly retro and analog touch, a bit of lo-fi rather than sci-fi, where everything is well used, worn, and lived in.
Alrighty. What's the plan, Captain?
What they didn't mention is working on your ship. Like, we can see a ton of... God, this looks so good. Oh my gosh. All the stuff around the side here, it just all... It looks crunchy, you know? Like sci-fi crunch. I don't know how to describe it. It just feels good.
Many of the spaces in our game, it has a slightly retro and analog touch, a bit of lo-fi.
You can see all these like components and stuff here. I'm guessing this is site dressing, but I do really... They didn't mention anything about actually working on your ship or doing anything in the ship, so we don't know how much of this is interactable. But I do hope that they do pull some out of there.
Rather than sci-fi, where everything is well used, worn, and lived in.
Alrighty. What's the plan, Captain?
This is your
Hey,
star
Anno.
map. It starts with the planet you're currently on. You can see all of its info and resources. You can choose a landing spot or fast travel to known locations. Backing out further, you can view all the planets.
I love the effect of the gravity wells and the planets and the star. Resources, a lot of resource data. This reminds me a lot of Mass Effect 2. This is a very, like, typical sort of view.
Obviously, the game is big.
And it makes it feel like is this navigation? Because it says set course in the bottom. We don't see any sort of actual... I guess we do see the what's it called? The gravity drive, they call it, or something like that. But it seems like the gravity drive takes you from this to another system as opposed to planet to planet. I'm not sure how they do planet to planet yet.
And it's here you can see planets that have key locations, missions, or life on them, versus the many planets that are barren but resource heavy. Zoom out even further to see all the systems in this part of the galaxy. Here you can plot a...
And we see here from a typical system, 6 planets, 15 moons, 0 outposts. 0 outposts. Must be like a frontier system.
Course to ones that are light years away. This uses your ship's grav drive
6,
to
5, and
fold
0
space and jump to these systems. And you will need to upgrade your ship and skills if you want to jump to the most distant ones. But for now, we'll plot a course to the Alpha Centauri system, where we can find the city of New Atlantis.
Yeah, I think planet to planet is like loading screen, basically. Star map looks great.
Maintain your current course while we scan your ship's cargo.
Scaled space, like how No Man's Sky does it.
You are cleared for landing at New Atlantis.
Can you set up trading outposts? You can set up outposts. They still haven't talked about, that's actually something we'll go over. They haven't talked about kind of what those outposts can do for you, but we've seen it in previous Bethesda games, so I'm sure they'll have some kind of gameplay attached.
A city like New Atlantis, your eyes are guided upwards to just these boundless, vast buildings.
It's the biggest city we've ever made, not just in size, but also in the amount of custom art, crowds, and quests.
So the main focus when we're designing a city is obviously what supports the story. We try and tell as many small stories as possible.
This is a Colony War memorial.
It's a few moments of gameplay that make the space feel like it's full of real characters that are going about their day-to-day lives.
It's paralyzing if you really stop and
I
think
love
about
this.
it. Buddy, it's coffee.
It's coffee, dude.
Also where your adventure with Constellation begins.
Yeah, no atmospheric flight. You do get to fly the ship in space.
Welcome to Constellation.
Yeah, Raga, we actually watched the whole thing on this stream yesterday. This is our second run through. If anybody wants to see what we did yesterday, we actually did the whole live show on my second channel. It'll be up after this stream, but we also released a podcast talking more in depth about this stuff. It's a pretty good show. It's with the Astro Historians on my second channel too, or your podcast platform of choice.
Constellation. We have a lot to talk about.
By the time you meet them, Constellation is sort of seen as this mythical group. Most people don't even know they exist anymore. They're the last true explorers in the galaxy, and they're trying to find the answers to some of humanity's biggest questions.
The artifacts are so different, so alien, and I'm certain one of them reached out and spoke to you. The artifact, if you could place it on the table here.
Mass Effect vibes. Like, it's hard not to draw comparisons. Even the story is pretty similar.
Oh my god. Look at how it's coming together. That means there's a set built by an intelligence outside the settled systems.
It's definitely an eclectic cast of characters. You've got
Why does it look like it's using a crushed color space? Bethesda games are generally kind of desaturated. I don't know if that's what you're talking about, but Bethesda games have a look to them for sure.
Else out there. Noel, the gifted scientist and Sarah Morgan's protege, and Walter, a very successful businessman in the settled systems and Constellation's financier.
Anything goes as long as you have the money.
There's honestly, also Vlad, the ex-pirate, Sam Coe, the former space cowboy.
I don't know if I would prefer these graphics over Star Citizens. I still feel when it comes to character models, and definitely not faces, but yeah, I don't know if I could say these look better per se. I do like both.
And Barrett.
You know what I hate about these pirates? Completely resistant to my otherwise irresistible charm.
Everybody pointed out the facial animations here. If you're wondering when people talk about it, how Bethesda faces are very cardboard, this is it.
I hate about these pirates. Completely resistant to my otherwise irresistible charm.
The journey you take with Constellation is just the first of many you'll embark on. The Settled Systems is home to all kinds of different stories, people, and adventures for you to uncover.
The United Colonies is where you'll find New Atlantis, the first major human settlement in space.
Oh, it's absolutely the best Bethesda's made. I mean, that would be kind of weird if they went backwards after 8 years of work. Ultimately, I do think it looks good, but I never really expect Bethesda to lead the pack when it comes to graphics, so I'm not going to ding them for it not looking like a game from 2027, you know?
People who live here value law, discipline, and the legacy of humanity. They consider themselves the true children of Earth.
You ever think of joining up with the Vanguard? Help the United Colonies, even get your UC citizenship?
New Atlantis isn't the only city within the United Colonies. The city of Sidonia on Mars to this day serves as the largest mining facility for the United Colonies. Beyond the United Colonies' reach, you might find yourself in a much more wild and independent coalition of star systems. This is Freestar Collective Space. The capital of the Freestar Collective is Aquila City.
The Stone Root Inn is an Aquila City fixture.
A ranger relies on judgment and intuition to do what's best for the people.
Very Firefly.
Neon started out as a fishing platform, but is now known throughout the settled systems as a pleasure city, where almost anything goes.
If you've got morality issues, this definitely isn't the job for you.
Ooh, that looks cool.
If you've got morality issues, this
That is a dope shirt. I like that. If I'm ever in a situation where I'm not going to get shot at, I want it.
Definitely isn't the job for you.
Ryujin is hiring the best and brightest of today for our future tomorrow.
Everyone has been chewed up and ground up by Neon. Try not to get yourself killed, all right?
Outside the bounds of civil...
What I would have loved is for them to have done like maybe just a 5-minute walkthrough of these locations. Show us the actual location like as you would experience it, as opposed to... These are a lot of short shots of stuff that doesn't really matter. I mean, it does a good job of showing off the city that we're in, but as a game that's like coming out in 3 months that we want to kind of learn more about, I really wish they would go in here and be like, okay, this is Neon. You encounter maybe a couple factions or a mission giver here. This is like the vibe. This is how it goes. And I do appreciate that we get to see a lot of gameplay here, but it's just so cut up. I wish it was more fluid and continuous.
Try not to get yourself killed, all right?
Outside the bounds of civilized space, there are still plenty of unclaimed systems to explore, but these areas are also home to the most hostile factions in the galaxy.
The great serpent hungers. All heathens shall be made dust in time.
I get it.
A new face. Is this the face of a brave runner here to challenge the Red Mile?
I forgot. I didn't even see the Red Mile yesterday. So there are more factions than just those main 4 or 5. That's good.
They think the galaxy is there.
I know they want me to experience it, but like, I mean, that's a dumb reason to not show me more stuff. I want to have a good idea of the game. It really bothers me that like a lot of it is them telling us as opposed to the game telling us, when they are telling us with the game's B-roll in the background, when we could just get like a game demo. Because they do a couple game demos in here, but they get maybe 30 to 40 seconds in and then they cut it to another shot instead of letting us see how it kind of goes along. It just really, I would like that.
They are wrong. It belongs to the Crimson Fleet. It always has.
In Starfield, we're pushing our cities and settlements further.
Yeah, we got salvage coming up tonight in the org.
It's all there, waiting for you. A slice of humanity's future.
I wouldn't compare this to Fallout 76. This isn't trying to be an MMO. This is a single player. This is their bread and butter. Morrowind, Oblivion, Skyrim, Fallout 4. They're kind of going for that as opposed to a more of a MMO kind of multiplayer style game.
So, ready to get out there?
Throughout the galaxy, there are so many things to see and stories to experience.
I think if they show too much, I don't think there's any such thing as showing too much. I think there's such thing as self-control and people learning how to stop when they've seen enough. Now, I'm not going to say that they should show the whole game, but like for instance, Star Citizen as an example talks about almost every single thing they do in the game. It's up to the person to look into that and spoil it for themselves or to stay back and enjoy the game as a surprise later. But I do think as something that is called a gameplay deep dive, they should be diving deep into the gameplay.
But the most important story is the one that you tell. I'm the type of person who spends hours in character creation, and I think people are going to be really excited when they see all of the improvements we've made.
One of the biggest overhauls was done through our character generation system.
We scanned a wide range of faces from different age groups and ethnicities, and by mixing and matching all that data, we were able to create highly detailed and diverse characters.
We use that exact system to create all of the characters and NPCs you're going to see in the game. So any character you see almost always is a character you could make yourself.
Snap out of it.
Hey, come on. Okay, take it easy. You were out cold. No physical damage.
Sorry, we were just trying to smuggle our way through the border on the... What is it? God, I don't even remember what the Skyrim reference is anymore.
Mentally, the jury's still out. You know who you are? New recruit for Argos Extractors?
It doesn't matter how they do their... Chris, I'm not... God damn it. I'm not talking about like literally the content itself. I'm saying the style of showing off how you're making the game. For instance, Cyberpunk 2077. If you how about we move away from Star Citizen? We can get rid of all those comparisons and talk about a normal game. Cyberpunk 2077 wanted to market themselves almost the exact same way Starfield did. And when they came out and they showed us the gameplay, they just gave us full-on gameplay. They cut it a couple times, but we saw a lot of a mission. Now, it was a little bit misleading because the whole game wasn't like that, but there are different ways of doing it. All I am saying is that I wish they had done this differently. I don't wish they were Star Citizen. I don't wish this was CIG. I don't wish there was a combination. I'm just saying that I think there is a method of showing a game, and people should be held accountable for how much of that game they look into versus how much surprise they want.
Ring any bells? Any of this look familiar?
You start your character creation journey as though you're cycling through employee records. You'll pick from a lineup of 40 presets, and that'll be your starting point. Your journey from there can be as detailed or as quick as you want it to
Muscular, thin, and heavy.
be. This new system has more to offer than ever.
Oh, it doesn't even mean to be 30 minutes. 10 minutes of gameplay. 10 minutes of uncut gameplay. Real nice to see.
Before.
This is SC Killer Cut.
It's also the simplest character generation system we ever had. We let the player get as close as possible to make
Astro Pub, dude, how's it going?
Various facial morphs you can blend together, the dermesthetic and makeup, blemishes, scars, piercings, teeth settings. It's a lot, but I think it's the most fun to use.
Character creation is more than just how you look. This is also where you start to decide who you want to be. That's where backgrounds come in.
Love this. Love the backgrounds.
You start to decide who you want to be. That's where backgrounds come in.
Yeah, you guys remember Cyberpunk's backgrounds? How big a difference they made? I'm sorry, I'm always gonna make that joke. So the Explorer, they said exploration is a lost art. You didn't listen. As the major factions argued over the space, they desperately tried to control. You were busy uncovering the wonders of the settled system. So this is just an example of a backstory. Look at how many freaking backstories there are. Lasers. You get personal laser weapons, specialized and are better for you, I guess. Astrodynamics, advanced technology is one thing, but it takes skill, patience, and a little bit of love to coax even more capability out of a ship's grav drive. So I'm guessing that means you can travel further, and humanity now has access to untold alien worlds, and the ability to decipher all that data while on the ground has become an essential skill set. Probably just improved surveying. And then you got the next one, Diplomat, enhances your persuasion skills, which is a very cool system they do in these games. Helps you with bartering, it looks like, getting better prices. With the right skill set, can open and run successful businesses. So I don't know, maybe that's passive income or something? And then Wellness says, by embracing an active lifestyle and good nutrition habits, one may improve their overall sense of health and even gain prolonged life expectancy. I guess that's just more health. I really like what they do with these badges. I think it's probably in a couple of minutes. They're gonna show us these badges, what they look like when they're upgraded. Remember this heart one? This one goes wild, like veins and stuff popping out. So remember how boring it is on this screen. You guys can see that, right?
Backgrounds give you a bit of backstory and start you out with 3 basic skills.
From chef to Dusty. You know, the crew still has a betting pool about which restaurant critic you must have crossed to wind up here.
What's great about backgrounds is you never know when yours is gonna come in handy. You could be in the middle of a fancy restaurant talking to some guy, and suddenly you learn he needs a beast hunter to help track down a monster.
Fine. I probably should stick to professionals anyway, given what happened the last time.
We're also giving you the option to customize your build even further by letting you pick up to 3 traits. Traits are completely optional, and they come with their own advantage.
Also great. So we've got, what was the last one? We got backgrounds, traits, and I think there's also skill points. So there's like 3 different ways you can customize your character outside of all of the different dialogue paths and actual game styles that you're doing. It gives you a lot of different things you can do. Introvert, here's one of the traits. You really need your alone time. Exerting yourself uses less oxygen when adventuring alone, but more when adventuring with other human companions. Nice little trade-off there.
Advantages and disadvantages.
Oh, human companions. So they're probably giving you an out by using your droid.
They're completely optional, and they come with their own advantages and disadvantages. You could choose to meet your biggest fan.
By Vectera! Is it really, really you?
He'll join your crew, and he'll give you gifts if you're willing to put up with this constant
Popular
commentary.
callback.
I can't believe I get to stand near you, breathing the same air. I've got to have every molecule.
My favorite trait is kid stuff. You have to pay
Love
some
it.
credits to support your parents, but they're very sweet.
I want to
and
go
it's
back
really
and
fun
play
to visit
Oblivion.
them.
Can we get like a remastered Oblivion? Is that too much? Am I being too Bethesda fanboy asking for that? Could you imagine? Not even remaster, like remade. Oh god, a remade Oblivion with the proper open world. The world of Oblivion would probably be crazy if they remade that game today.
Honey, we got ourselves a visitor.
Oh my god!
I came across some hostile zealots in space, but because I had chosen a trait that made me
Oblivion
the
with
same
100
religion
mods.
as them, I was able to get by without any issue.
All right, so this is like the dialogue system. Here's the one thing that Bethesda games do. You're not really voiced. I think they did that in Fallout 4, and it was kind of not loved. It makes it very easy to have a really, really amazing dialogue system, but it does mean that you have to do a lot of reading. And, you know, we didn't sign up to games for read. I didn't even read the instruction manuals. Come on. No, I'm fine with this. Honestly, it's really, really fun. Probably one of the better parts of a Bethesda games, in my opinion. Cheers.
There's another great one that gives you a damage buff when your health is low, but mercenaries will randomly show up and try to kill you. No matter what you choose, there will be plenty of ways for you to tell your story. And if you want to remove a trait, there are ways to do that too.
What
I think I've heard of Skyblivion.
It's a feast for the eyes. Off we go to another adventure.
I'll let you discover that on your own.
Wait, let me go back, because
What a view. It's a feast for the eyes.
I just wanted to see the compass down there. It's such a simple HUD. I'm thinking that we could probably customize the HUD pretty heavily and remove a lot of the stuff, like that XP pop-up that comes up in the middle of the screen. I'm guessing that will all be pretty easily customizable out of this. And then you just
we go to another adventure.
off this guy in the back. Jesus.
We'll let you discover that on your own.
I gotta look back into Skyblivion. Oh, armor? Yeah, look at all that. Look at all this stuff. So many things. I wonder how much color options we'll have.
Once you've
I
built
saw the
perfect
watch.
character, that's when your journey can really begin. We took what we loved about skills and perks from our previous games and put them together to create an all-new skill system. Each time you level up, you get a skill point, which can be used to unlock or rank up skills.
So this is the third branch of the RPG system. You got the backstory, backgrounds, oh my god, I already forgot. Perks, I think was the second, and then these skill points. Oh no, I'm sorry. These are the same things I was referring to before. Watch out for the heart
Ranks are
thing.
unlocked by completing challenges associated with that skill. Challenges become increasingly difficult as you work your way to higher ranks. With our 5-day
Look at that. Look at how intense that heart gets. I want that. It's beautiful. Honestly, these graphics are so interesting. Like the menu itself is very clean. I love it. Yeah, this is about 8 years in development, I think they said. I believe they said, I think Todd had an interview in like 2019 and he said something like they had gone into full production 2 years prior and they had started partial production 4 years before that. So around 2015 or so, I think he was saying they started like partial production and then really ramped up in 2017. I'm guessing, obviously with the whole 25-year thing, somebody's been wanting to make this for a while. They probably were just proposing like stories and ideas back then, but never got around to making it. Actually, Astropub had a really good insight on this in the podcast, how there had actually been mentions of them trying to get this production started throughout the 2000s, and they just couldn't. Probably because the technology wasn't good enough. Like, this game could not have been made 10 years ago.
different skill trees and 4 ranks per skill, there's a lot to choose from.
I like the xenosociology skill because it lets you mind control aliens.
Boost pack out of the gate. I'm boost packing everywhere.
I like maxing out my physical tree so I can get neuro strikes and just punch my way through combat. That one's a lot of fun.
I love that. Oh, shoot. Yo, Morph. Dropping up in here with the Morphologist chat. What's up, everybody? Welcome in. Welcome in. Lingon. The Poets, dude. How's it going? Are you chilling in there with the Morph? What's up, Dex? No, you were already in here. Welcome, folks. How's it going? Got that shout out for Morph going on. What were you up to, dude? Oh, were you doing Starfield stuff as well? Welcome, guys. Rolling right in. I'm guessing you're about to watch a replay of whatever it was you were just watching. Welcome, folks. If you're not interested in Starfield, we also have some Star Citizen giveaways going on. You can hit exclamation point giveaway or exclamation point 400i. Both of those are giving you results. And on Wednesday, we'll be giving away a Fury. So get in on that. You're watching the reveal trailer. Okay. People are here to hear my thoughts. My thoughts are space game good. keep making space games, please. I really hope this is the catalyst. I hope this is like the Skyrim to the sci-fi genre. It's just such perfect timing. There are so many things to bounce off of this to go play after you're done with Starfield that I just hope this kind of kickstarts the ecosystem of sci-fi games this decade, and we can see more reasons for publishers to pursue this stuff, because the more space games, the freaking better, man.
Your playstyle.
I'm very much a stealth player, so I'm out there picking.
I don't think it was incredibly new information, but it definitely answered and solidified a lot of questions.
Slowly creeping through vents like you're in a movie, and then jumping out and springing on people.
Whenever possible, I like to talk my way through situations.
This area's off limits. Fine, I'll issue you an access card.
I'm more of a run and gun player.
See, like, these are the things.
I like to talk my way through situations.
This area's off limits.
This is the persuasion system, right? They're showing us the conversation itself, this little text thing. How much of a spoiler would it have been to show us maybe more of the conversation? And show us how it works with these turns and the persuasion skills and these point systems. Like, that's what I mean when I say I would like to see it more uncut, rather than just seeing this one line in the return. Pick a conversation that's not going to spoil the whole game for us, and let us see a full understanding of how persuasion works, because it's been in other games, but maybe it's a little different in this one. Morph getting ready for bed. Not a space sim, very traditionally and conservatively designed space RPG, and I love it for that. God, I love that. That's what brought me into gaming. Knights of the Old Republic and Halo Combat Evolved were like the two things that really got me into gaming. So space RPGs are my jam. But thank you, dude. Thanks for the raid. Thanks for hanging out. I'll catch you later. Have a good sleep, dude.
Fine, I'll issue you an access card.
I'm more of a run and gun player. I like doing that.
I do need to know how it all works, Rogue. You are wrong.
A death from above thing where I'd boost pack over guys and I throw landmines at them.
Yeah, it is a similar system to Fallout.
I like blowing stuff up.
Agreed.
Exploration is a key aspect of all our games. In Starfield, there are full star systems with new life, resources, and adventures.
That is a sick-looking gun.
And adventures.
Oh, I love that. Here's more, there's another new icon there. Not sure what that one would be. We got radiation, and I'm guessing that means dryness? Like there's no moisture? This looks pretty dry.
Our team worked hard to strike a balance between fun and realism. We studied data from NASA and a multitude of other sources to help us make the world feel believable. From the way we approached planetary atmospheres to the way we placed biomes based on the planet's distance from the sun.
Freaking beautiful.
Once we had created a grounded world, we could start looking at all the things that make that world fun. When you leave a planet and head into space, you'll be navigating asteroid fields.
What do you mean by leave a planet?
Interesting strangers, dogfighting in space, and exploring derelict meetings with
Did I just see ship ramming confirmed?
interesting strangers, dogfighting in
Little
space,
bump there, little
and
toot.
exploring derelict ships. It's all out there.
Yeah, the UI is the watch.
Ultimately, it's about rewarding your curiosity, because whether it's on the surface of a planet, the alleys of a city, or the vastness of space, you never know what you'll find.
See, they keep tricking us with these. I keep thinking they're about to settle into like a nice gameplay session.
Space exploration is possible thanks to your ship. Your ship
Morpho
is
saying the
almost
game
like
is on
having
rails?
another character or home
How
you
so?
can make all your own. I think you'll be blown away by the amount of stuff you can do. You can buy a ship.
I'm sure you can find something you like.
Customize and up.
I love this. I don't know how long this is going to remain interesting to me. I think I'll have a lot of fun with this, probably for a few days. I'm not the kind of person who likes to fiddle with the in-game systems for days on end just to get that perfect thing. I like to find something that I like and move on with it, but I am going to be very interested in finding new parts and like coming up with different shapes for my ship. Yeah, leaving the planet is like cutscene. I was just making a joke about that.
Upgrade that ship. And hire a crew to keep it up and running. And it all starts in spaceports. Every spaceport has a ship technician where you can purchase, sell, and modify ships.
Anything I can help you with?
Let me see what ships you have for sale. We're gonna go if I need more crew on my ship.
Maybe you start off with a speedy fighter that's perfect.
I can't get over the fact that we're looking at this ship and they're like speedy fighter. And I'm like, I guess considering the NASA punk aesthetic, this is considered a speedy fighter, which, you know, I'm going to calibrate for it. I'll calibrate for it.
Perfect for bounty hunting.
Figure that out.
Then you might round out your ship roster with a hulking space freighter to run cargo missions, or even do a little smuggling. For now, though, we're going to take our starting ship, the Frontier, and make some changes. You can customize and upgrade everything you see here, and you have two ways to do that. You can quickly upgrade individual systems like your weapons or shields, or you can deep dive and enter the shipbuilder mode. Here you can change anything, from the systems to the look and layout. Adding a new habitat module can give you more room for crew. Adding cowling can change your ship's overall silhouette. An improved grav drive allows for longer distance space jumps. You can even fully customize your paint job to get the exact look you want. The parts you choose to build
I'm
with
never good
don't
at
just
paint.
affect your ship's stats. They'll also affect what you can do inside your ship. You can have modules for crafting or for storing and displaying your weapons.
So they talk about displaying and
Modules.
crafting. But again, this looks like something that you have placed into the ship, right? This looks like you snapped this onto a grid in the ship as a actual tool you can use, as opposed to like the fuselage of the ship having compartments that move away and let you access the systems of the ship. So I don't think that they're going to do anything like that, but we don't need it. Like there's a ton of systems already in the game. I don't think they need to do everything with this one. I think they just need to nail a good interpersonal experience.
For crafting or for storing and displaying your weapons. Starfield's in-game ship manufacturers bring their own look and feel to every piece of your ship.
That's nice to hear. That's something that I've always really, really liked about Star Citizen, and something that we didn't get to see in Mass Effect. Mass Effect was like very much not focused on building out the overall, like Mass Effect did good world building, but not in the sense of like the brands and companies and factions in the game. More so around the races and the militaries and the species.
From living quarters to cargo holds, mess halls, and control rooms. Our modified Frontier is a practical ship, but with a little creativity, your ship can look like almost anything you want.
It's a bit odd, but one of my favorite ways of customizing ships is I make them look like animals. The HMS Platypus, as I called it, where it had a giant tail to it.
God,
We've
that's
done
the ugliest
spiders,
spaceship I've
we've
ever
done
seen.
Mechs. So it's really whatever your imagination is.
You just have a crew of like 50 people in
And
there.
while you can build your home among the stars the way you want to, you're probably not the only person who will call your ship
No, you
home.
cannot fly in atmosphere.
Ready to lift off when you are, Captain.
Engines ready.
The Frontier is fueled and ready, Captain.
Dunzelbeard, thanks for joining us. How you doing?
Some of the members of Constellation can join you on your journey. These companions can serve on your crew, and they'll always be there when you travel.
Dang. This guy's definitely reading from a teleprompter.
We'll be traveling together until we either find an artifact or this lead runs dry.
Each companion comes with their own valuable skills for your ships and outposts, as well as unique quest lines. Eventually, some friendships might blossom into romance.
I don't know that I've ever really loved anyone except you.
And if you're looking for a little extra help on your ship, you can always hire additional crew at spaceports.
Got any room on your ship for someone like me?
You'll also meet potential crew members out in the world.
Still think there might be a spot for...
Honestly, and I'm not hating on him for reading the way that he did. I'm not ever going to blame anybody who's not used to being on camera for not, like, you know, having a good presence on camera. That's not why they signed up for that.
Me on your ship? I gotta get off this rock.
Assign crew to your ship or outposts and their unique skills.
Okay, so you can assign crew to your ship, current outposts, see where they're at different outposts. What I really want to know here is, like, can we start sending them on missions? Can we, not missions that we would need to do, but like resource gathering stuff, you know? We used to do that in like Assassin's Creed. I think Mass Effect did that at one point. And you'd basically be able to just have them do things while you're gone from the outposts. I don't see any sign of that here, but was that something that we could do in Fallout? Not sure I remember that.
Will affect how they run. And just like companions, most crew members can lend a hand in the field. Take Bosco, for instance.
He's designed around the core basics of a NASA machine.
Please avoid getting shot. You might die.
I still wanted to give it almost a humanoid personality, so I elongated the limbs. This tends to make him feel more human-like and give him a little personality.
It is a shame exploration requires
Am I not getting
so
YouTube
much
chat?
bloodshed.
Oh, it's just loading in slowly. They
Using
confirmed in the
shipbuilding
showcase?
Tools
Okay.
and crew selection features in Starfield, you'll be able to build and captain the ship of your dreams. And now, let's take to the sky.
Right, the scrap stations, yeah.
We're
okay.
putting you in the cockpit of your very own spaceship and telling you that you can do pretty much anything. And that is really cool for us as developers. Spaceflight should be exciting and dangerous, and you should feel like you're in complete control every step of the way. We've extended that sense of control to ship combat. It's not about just hitting your triggers to fire your weapons. It's a complex dance between your piloting skills and our power allocation system. Boosting power to your engines will make your ship faster.
Yeah, just like looking at the control scheme, I mean, obviously this is for a controller, but like, I'm not getting the sense that there are like weapon groups or any fine tuning of weapons. It looks like you're basically just doing one button for your lasers, one for your ballistics, one for your missiles, one for your speed, and one for boost, which is fine. Again, I think that this is a game that's really going to have to aim for mainstream, so I wouldn't expect much from the ship flying or the combat. I would expect like something that's interesting, that's kind of fun, but isn't going for any sort of like a sim experience. Yeah, they got missiles, but I don't know if we really see them much. I don't know. I don't think that they should try and build a lot into the ship flight. The ship is secondary in this game. That's one of the big differences between this and something like Elite Dangerous or Star Citizen. The spaceship's secondary. It is a big part of the game. You live on it, you can build them, you can take them anywhere, but ultimately this game's focused on your character and that story. So I think that don't take away from the main aspect of this game, which is the RPG element, in order to make ship flight better, you know? Not to say that those are the same devs or they're doing the same work, but obviously time and money goes a certain way, especially with a game coming from a company like Bethesda.
Powering up the ground tries will shorten the amount of time it takes before you can make a jump. And moving your power to your weapons and shields means you're ready for a fight.
I don't think this has been rushed. They delayed this like twice.
You should always be on your toes because you're not alone out there.
We don't need hyperbole in the chat. Come on. Stay realistic.
Unlocking the targeting control system skill will allow you to zero in on specific subsystems of the ship you target.
That's really nice. That's nice. That's a little more in-depth than I would have expected.
After destroying an enemy ship, you can loot the remains from your cockpit. You can always turn any ship that engages you into scrap. But you can also take a more personal approach by docking with the enemy vessel and boarding their ship.
Yeah, the badge art looks so good. I love that they're shipboarding too. I did not expect, like, I was hopeful that our ships would have interiors. It seemed like that's what they were getting at. But for other NPCs and their ships to have interiors that we could go on board and, like, you know, interact with them, hopefully that's also gives us the ability, I think they did say the ability to trade and barter, to go on and, like, get missions, or to actually fight, kill them, and steal their ships. Very cool. It's very space. This is what we want to see from a space RPG. Like, fantasy? Sure, shoot your arrows, cast your magic, go into some caves, but, like, with space, let us do things, you know, in the spaceship. Let us board ships, do things that just don't happen in other games.
Taking control of an enemy ship, it's yours. Add it to your fleet and retrieve it at any spaceport. But space is way more than fighting for your life. Just like when you're planetside, there are plenty of sights to see and stops to make on the way to your next adventure. Like these massive star yards. Walk the halls, talk to the crew, maybe get talked into buying a whole new ship.
A civilian in my star yard.
Okay, so these are space stations.
Proper ship, one worthy of you.
My God, dude, that must have hurt. On your lips, sir? On your nostrils? Aye.
Let's see about getting you a proper ship, one worthy of you.
Maybe you'll dock with a gigantic battleship, like the UC Vigilance. Or rub elbows with the galaxy's wealthy elite on a cruise ship fit for the stars.
I don't think it's a strange culture. It's actually one of my favorite cultures to play in Civ. I really like the Maori.
Had as well. You can hail any ship you come across to trade, swap info, or maybe even commit an act of piracy.
Let's do this.
When I'm playing, I generally go crazy.
Is it the Maori?
I definitely go like the more piracy routes. I want to take over ships.
Yeah,
I'm
it was a
gonna board
Maori.
ships.
Okay.
I'm like, this is now mine. I steal all the sandwiches and put them, you know, in my cargo hold that I have specifically for sandwiches. I don't want to play the hero, but I want to go out and just start taking things from people as quickly as possible.
Some strangers might be looking for a little human connection.
I'm not being intolerant, guys. I'm making jokes up here. I'm not being intolerant of a culture or insulting his tattoos. I'm literally just making a joke because getting tattoos on your lips freaking hurts.
Hello, stranger. I just finished cooking up some food. If you want to come on over, just pop on by.
Some of the best moments are the ones you discover on your own. The thing I love most about Starfield is that it is a Bethesda game through and through. It's really about going to strange new places, meeting interesting people, and getting sidetracked on zany adventures. Then, realizing 2 hours later that you're involved in a completely new story.
You're joking, I get you.
Human. We thought we were the only ones
Laser
to leave
tattoos?
Earth.
That DNA is so present here. It's in our random encounters, it's in our handcrafted quests, and it feels so cool to play it and just make your own path in this universe. There are over 1,000 planets out there, just waiting for you to visit. We want you to feel like explorers, breaking ground on new planets, exploring every inch of a mostly untouched galaxy. We want you to feel hopeful. We want you to feel this sense of awe and wonder, and sometimes a little fear. We're giving you a massive playground and a ton of toys, and just setting you free.
Bethesda game through and through. There will be glitches.
Hey everybody,
We all know.
you so much stuff, but we thought we'd just take a little break and show you something a little bit different. You know, we put so much detail into our game worlds, and we love the opportunity to bring that into the real world with our collector's editions. And for this game, we've done a watch in the game.
Okay, you guys want to see this? This is just marketing.
It's part of your HUD where it's the compass and then environmental information.
I think the watch is
to your
cool.
phone to give you notifications and other information, and we've.
But putting money into a smartwatch, you'd probably want to figure out who made this smartwatch if you actually care about using it, because that's risky. Those operating systems do not get supported for very long.
We've also designed this really cool case that it comes with.
Our attention to detail not used during the authentic, heavy ability of this.
You'll find it very useful out there, and it even tells the time.
I think they also have the controller. I love the controller. I think the controller looks freaking great.
In every one of our games, we always put so much care into all those little details that breathe life into our worlds. But Starfield isn't just a Bethesda Game Studios world, it's a Bethesda Game Studios galaxy.
No touchscreen, okay.
So why go this big with Starfield? Because we want to give you freedom on a galactic level. The freedom to experience both the exciting planets and the quiet ones. Scanning a planet before you land is a great way to get a sneak peek at the available resources you can use. Planet before you land is a great.
So you can have an active bounty on you. It looks like you can just see the different resources at each planet. I really like this star map. It looks so good.
Way to get a sneak peek at the.
I love the sort of topographic style they've done with a lot of parts of this game. No fauna, no flora, no water, no atmosphere. Man, I don't like this planet.
The available resources you can use for crafting, building, and customizing.
I think what's cool about this whole system that we generate the planet itself as a procedural content, but the handcrafted content itself comes as the player explore. Our system builds a planet as the player approaches it. We stitch together a block of terrain. After that, we have the system that adds interesting locations for the player to explore, creatures to encounter, ore and plants to pick up. It allows us to add that touch of environmental storytelling that Bethesda is known for.
Aggressive creatures have been disrupting our experiments.
Their habitat isn't far from here. If you could take care of them for us, we would be in your debt.
God, that's such a classic, it's such a classic quest.
So even if your friends were to visit the same planet that you had, you would have a different story to tell.
Cool. Replayability then? So you got a new icon over here. Not sure what that is. It's a yellow triangle. Looks like they have triangles over on this side, and then they have all the circle icons over here. I'm guessing these are like hazard, and then maybe this is like status effect or something. I don't know. I don't really have much context for that. Ouch. See that? I thought that was going to be a good amount of gameplay. It looks like it is. Started about 34:20. And we cut at 34:42. So we don't really get that much continuous stuff. Heel paste. Just gotta rub some of that heel paste on your face. Yeah, there are loading screens at the doors going into these areas, it seems like. So, you know, it's that same classic sort of load in different areas kind of style. Can I clarify a bit more what I'd want? You don't get it yourself. I just want more continuous gameplay. That's all. Like, let's see if I can find this. Oops. So like the Cyberpunk 2077 demo, when they first released it, was like, this is the same gameplay that we're watching here. Same gameplay we're watching here. Same gameplay we're watching here. It's all related, and it gives a really good idea of how the flow works, how the game like actually flows when you're playing it. This is a lot of separate cuts, so you don't get that vibe. I'm not saying that that ruins everything, but that's what I would like. Before you buy from Gamerangs? Yeah, something like that.
It's completely up to you how you want to interact with each planet. Whether you want to explore and see what you can find, harvest resources and be on your way, or simply take in the views.
There's another one of those triangle icons. I really want to know what these are. God, this game looks gorgeous, though. I love that they've got global illumination working in this. I guess it'd be kind of weird if they didn't, huh?
With the help of your scanner, you'll chart the uncharted and discover exotic wildlife.
If you have the skills, you can even figure out that certain creatures and plants, you can build an outpost and produce resources from those plants and animals.
Harvest the creatures.
You can get experience and rewards for fully surveying planets and fully surveying a whole system.
When we were concepting these creatures, we really wanted to think of them as natural to the environment. We didn't want...
IZB, are you okay? Like, did this game hurt you? Wonder what it's like to walk around in life and be constantly unhappy with everything. You know, some people are good at it. Farm simulator? Give me that space farming, yo. Bethesda isn't known for being very forward. They make good RPGs, though. Hope you reach out to them to get a review copy. Worst they can say is no. Yeah, I guess. I mean, I've never really done it before, but I'll reach out. Almost Angel, thank you for the sub, by the way. Giving that out to somebody in the community. That's what you heard? You heard that this will be the worst game of all time and bankrupt Bethesda, which means no Elder Scrolls 6. You do realize that Bethesda is owned by one of the richest companies in the world, right? They spent a lot of money on that. I don't know if they're going to let that bankrupt them. Cyberpunk gameplay was misleading. They portrayed that sample as regular gameplay. It turned out to be the scripted intro to the game. I agree, Bohemian. That was... that gameplay was misleading. Wasn't how the whole game played out. But I did appreciate that we got it that long. Watch the Todd Howard interview with IGN. We'll check that out. Definitely.
Alien monsters. We wanted native wildlife. Something you've never seen before.
When it comes to our exteriors, when the sun moves, all that light is calculated in real time through the atmosphere. Our biggest goal for lighting with Starfield was to...
Dude, beautiful.
Through the atmosphere. Our biggest...
Oh my gosh. This just looks so fun. The only thing that I don't like is that I can't look at this layout and be like, ooh, I would totally land my spaceship like down in this valley, you know? Because I think they show kind of landing on the planet in a little bit, or maybe they showed it before where you just kind of click on the planet somewhere. So you could specify that you wanted to land down in this ditch, but other than that, this is freaking gorgeous.
This goal for lighting with Starfield was to make the game feel more filmic, to use lighting and color to really make it feel more cinematic.
Dolphins would not want to live here. I imagine not. Yo. What I'm wondering is how many different planets we're seeing here. How many repeated planets are we seeing?
After some exploring, you can find a spot to set up a base camp. Outpost can be...
Did Mrs. Tomato just drop subs in here? Just get that Careless Whisper plan. Just get that lovely saxophone in my ears. Thank you, Mrs. Tomato. Appreciate you. Thanks for supporting us and also getting more people in the sub club. Welcome, folks. Enjoy the good time and exclusive videos.
Built almost anywhere on any planet. And the habitat modules come in all shapes and sizes, filling all different purposes. You can even live in them. Assign crew and companions to work at your outposts for added bonuses and set up extractors to harvest resources while you're away.
Something cool we have this time is we have a new...
Is that our scrap gathering stations then? Because they don't say that the NPCs can gather and do things. They say extractors.
To harvest resources.
What is this? Are we satisfactory now?
While you're away. For added bonus, even live in them. Assign crew and companions to work at your outposts for added bonus.
Okay, so they can work at the outpost, but maybe not leave and go do other things.
And set up extractors to harvest resources while you're away.
I mean, I guess if you have a mining thing at your outpost, that's basically them gathering resources. From what you understand, spaceflight from planet to atmosphere isn't really a thing in this game. Yeah, it's not. It's kind of, you're just loading back and forth. I think the companions can improve the process. That sounds right. Should actually probably wait until the game comes out before assuming all the planets are the same and like space is empty. I mean, yeah, I'm just interested in how much they diversify, because what they just showed us was a lot of very beautiful stuff. And I'm wondering, are any of those on the same planet? Are they multi-biome planets? Or do the planets kind of all look the same across the whole thing?
We have this time is we have a new fly cam.
Blaine, thank you for the membership.
Building, or you can now use a top-down isometric camera, which helps plan out larger parts of the outpost.
This should hold us over till Squadron 42. I'm going to have fun with this for years, I think.
What the overall feel of your outpost is. And then when you're on your feet, you can really decorate and fine-tune things much easier.
Add crafting and research stations in your outpost to utilize any resource.
Food and drink. How much different food are we going to be able to make?
You find or already have.
Loving the design of
to
that.
Adapt them to your playstyle. Different weapon sights and scopes, larger magazines, a selection of grips and barrels, different ammunition like explosive rounds. All you stealth players out there will surely need a suppressor. You can also choose to go hands-on with melee weapons.
I think it's always a delicate balance between like what's realistic, what's sim, and what's Hollywood. And I think we sort of err on the side of like what's fun for the player.
Yeah, they sound excited about food.
With Starfield, we've completely overhauled our combat. It's more dynamic, the animations are more fluid. It just feels great.
It looks a lot much better than what they used to
We
have.
have more mods and more weapons in this game than I want to say any other game we've done before. There's a lot of variety.
Upgraded gear is just one of the many factors to pay attention to when engaging in combat.
Dude, I think that's the same gun I said looked cool earlier, but it looks really cool. I like this gun.
You may need to switch things up based on your environment. Gravity is different for each planet, and boost packs are excellent for getting around. And for giving you an edge in combat. Sometimes you'll even feel like you're flying.
Was that level designer talking about the guns? I guess they're just getting people to ask to talk about what they played rather than worked on. But it probably should be what they worked on, huh?
Zero-gravity environments pose a different challenge. Firing a ballistic weapon in zero-G will actually push you backwards.
That's cool. I don't think CIG doesn't consider what's fun for the player when they design stuff. I think they just design things to be more, for lack of a better word, a nuisance. Like the game mechanics are supposed to be very deep so that people can continue to grow in them. With a game like this, you have to design it to be fun right out the bat and not require people to spend a lot of time to get the hang of it. But like an MMO, I think you want some things that are fun, but also some things that are a little more long-term and also have consequences. Like you want reasons for people to not like certain types of gameplay, right? Or else everybody's going to try and do everything, and that kind of, I don't know. In my opinion, I think an MMO probably needs people to not like certain parts of the game for other people to take over on those parts just to keep the economy going. Really liked how the grenade launcher seemed to change its trajectory mid-leap. I missed that. I do like this shooting in zero-G thing, though. But again, you can't go zero-G outside of your ship.
Zero-gravity environments pose a different challenge. Firing a ballistic weapon in zero-G will actually push you backwards. Energy weapons, on the other hand, offer a more stable shooting experience.
We also have mag weapons. These are high-powered electromagnetic induction ballistic arrays. Each barrel has its own targeting laser.
Yeah, IZB, I'm going to need you to calm down on the stuff or we're going to time you out. Just relax. We get it. You don't like the game. Either sit here and watch and conversate with people, but please stop just putting out lines about how bad it's going to be.
And can dish out some serious damage. Whether you want to get up close and personal with your own two fists, or you like more compact weapons like pistols and submachine.
This person just punched a dinosaur in the face.
With your own two fists.
Oh, that's animal abuse, man. Come on, you can't just go to some animal's planet and punch it in the face because it's there. You're the invader. How rude. How rude.
Or you like more compact weapons like pistols and submachine guns. Or maybe you prefer something bigger. Starfield's got you covered.
Hey, man, if you're killing an animal, it doesn't know you killed it, okay? If you punch an animal, it's gonna go sulk off to its home and be like, dang, some human just landed on the planet and punched me, Mom. Like, you know, it's different. We're getting a lot of combat in this, I'm realizing. I know they spent a lot of time on the character. I guess this is probably the combat section. Yeah, it is. Okay. Yeah, no, they gave us decent exploration, but even in the exploration bit, we got quite a bit of combat. The game is pretty combat focused, and, you know, that makes sense. Combat's the most exciting. But it's interesting as an exploration space game. I guess we'll have to see how that builds into the main story. And then we turn into Star Wars. Again, very Mass Effect vibes.
Thanks again for being with us today. We are just so grateful that you've taken the time and spent it here. I know there was probably a lot to take in. There's a lot to the game, even more than we could show here. You know, as we play it, we're always sharing these unique and special moments that only a game like this can bring. When I think about what makes it special, it really is the people here. This game is a reflection of the incredible and passionate team that made it. All of them putting something special of themselves into it. So let's hear some of their favorite moments.
I love the way that our final combination of all the new tech has come together to create some of the most beautiful sunsets and sunrises we've ever had in any of our games.
I love the creatures, the exploration, every biome is different. The word that comes to mind is vast.
I like to use our photo mode to take rock star photos.
I just love that constant feel of discovery and wow, I can't believe that there's more here.
I'm most excited about our outpost building systems.
My favorite part is every time you step out on a planet, it's a unique experience.
You spend all this time building your ship, and you see it on the landing pad. These things are gigantic. It's the kind of thing that you just can't get anywhere else.
There's something about seeing a tower over in the distance and going, I know the gravity's low here. I think I can make that jump.
My favorite part is biomes, spaceships,
audio design,
planets,
the day-night cycle. Those details matter to me.
Diplomacy, exploration, freedom,
the ending.
Vasco.
The ending.
Obviously.
I love the robot so much.
The incredible amount of worlds we created.
Sniper rifles, come on.
Lever action, rocket launcher, brain sprout.
See, I love hearing from the devs. I do. But again, never mind. I'm not complaining.
I love, but some people might find creepy. I don't know. I know it's right, Ben. The thing that I enjoy most about the game is the freedom to be who you want to be, do what you want to do. It's what you've come to expect from a Bethesda title, but on a much bigger scale.
I wonder if we can like go fly in the actual rings of this planet, or if it's a visual thing. Like, how far would we have to fly to get there? Is that possible?
On behalf of all of us, we can't wait for you to play Starfield and make your own special moments.
Let's go. Good luck, Constellation. You are go for launch.
Oh, they outlined the planet there. Look at that. Look how this is cheeky. But yeah, so I think the thing that bugs me the most is how much we hear the devs tell us about the game as opposed to just seeing the game. It was a nice showcase. It just, as a gameplay deep dive, I think it gave different expectations of what it was going to be. Overall, I think it's a good showing, though. I think they showed off a lot of things that kind of solidified the game itself, the design, the direction they're going, what they're actually going for. That's not something I think they really nailed with last year's showing of the game. So this cleared things up for sure, which was good. Let's check out this interview though with Todd Howard about this. Actually, first I do want to see the actual trailer. I haven't watched the full trailer yet, I don't think. Oh, we watched it during the show, but let's watch it again. Bethesda, where is your video? Don't you guys hate this when you like look up a game? Here we go. You look up a game and you can't find the official channel. Just a bunch of re-uploads. I believe this is on PC at release, yeah. It's on Game Pass.
Humanity has always hunted for knowledge in the unknown.
I don't think you can fly into the atmosphere to land, even if you wanted to. They would definitely show that off in this. That would be very impressive if they got that working.
Not that the field of stars is so vast, but that we have measured it.
Love that music. I just realized I don't even say a brand new game 25 years in the making, just universe. So they literally could have been like writing books about this 25 years ago and still made this statement true.
We're all here because we're committed to the biggest question of all. What's out there? You're part of Constellation now. Part of our family.
We do not fully understand all that is at work here.
No finer group in the stars to be unraveling this mystery.
I'll follow you from here on out, Captain.
Grab jump is ready. I love this part.
These artifacts could be everything we've been looking for. Another great secret the universe is asking us to unravel.
Human settlements throughout the galaxy could be at risk.
We are not stopping. Whatever lies at the end of this road will change humanity forever. This is where we belong.
Astropod, what do you mean? No hot alien women in the game, dude. You haven't seen my character, okay? All right, okay. You don't know. All right, let's see what this interview is about. Oh, holy crap, is that Ian? Is he still at... That is Ian, right? That's his name? I feel like he's been doing this... What is it, Ian McCaffrey or something like that? I feel like he's been doing these interviews for like since I was a wee child. Knee-high to a dingo or something. How long was the actual stream? It was like an hour and a half because they also had other games shown, but the Starfield one was an hour long.
Everybody, Ryan McCaffrey with IGN.
Ryan, not Ian. That's close.
Good game development friend, Todd Howard.
Good to see you again.
It is good to see you. We chatted a year
Controller
ago
sold out.
remotely,
Crap.
and you shared some Starfield details with me there. Things that are a little different now because the game is imminent. I played it for about an hour. We just
nice.
watched. We're recording this the day before, but everybody will have just seen the 45-minute Starfield Direct. There's a lot to get to, Todd. There's a lot going on with this. So I want to just kind of start at the top, and we'll kind of work our way down into more nitty-gritty details. This is the first new IP you've done in a couple of decades now. It's been a little while. So totally new thing. It's the biggest exclusive for Microsoft in a long time. And it's
just so freaking sad. I've always been a fan of what Microsoft does. I mean, I love all of the big game publishers for their own reasons, but Microsoft has been like, I don't know. I've had a special liking for the way that Microsoft does their stuff, from the terrible Kinect to the 360 with its red ring to the unveiling of the Xbox One and finally the not so great launches of their AAA titles over the last year. I'm quite fond of their failings. I'm even more fond of their successes, though. I hope this is a good one for them, but man, it just sucks to see the state of Microsoft Studios right now. I hope that games like Fable and that scary game, what was it called? Southern something. Clockwork Revolution or whatever it's called. There are like a few good games that they're looking at. I really hope Microsoft can claw their way back to it, though.
certainly the biggest thing Microsoft's put out since they acquired Bethesda. So, pressure. Do you, in all seriousness, like, do you
feel Anthem
feel
vibes?
Any extra pressure compared to any of the other games you've made, or you just kind of focus on what you do? I'm just sort of curious if the stuff that like we talk about in the gaming community is something that goes through your head or gets talked about in the office at all.
South of Midnight, that's it. Thank
well,
you.
Clearly,
looks so cool.
I'm aware of that.
I don't know what it is at all, but it looks cool.
And compared to our previous games, there's always a lot of attention on what we do. We're very fortunate, but for us, we have put so much into this game, and it is, as you said, our first new IP in over 25 years. It's our first major release in about 8 years.
Yeah.
So for us, we have just put so much into it that we're just doing everything we can to make the best game that we can. Hope that everybody loves it. So.
Yeah, but what's that mean, Todd?
We feel we're on the right track.
Almost called him Toward.
And we're really fortunate, I think, with some of those things you said to get the attention.
Yeah.
And that we know there's a lot of people out there looking forward to it, and we just view our job as, hey, just do the best job we can do, put everything we can into the game, and I hope everyone loves it.
Ready to lift off when you...
I would say Anthem was a little bit... I don't actually remember. Did they show... how much gameplay did they show from Anthem? They just did that really lame E3 trailer, right? Where they had like the people voice acting over it, and it sounded terrible because they were laughing and giggling and saying stuff that people wouldn't say while playing games. You guys remember that? Good old E3 demos where like nobody talks how real people talk. I feel like Anthem did not show nearly as much of their game as this, because we've now gotten a trailer 4 years ago, another trailer 3 years ago, gameplay last year, and then more gameplay now. I'm feeling like this is more real than something like Anthem was. Now, I'm not going to say that this might not be a Cyberpunk 2077 situation, but again, they're showing a lot of this game and the core mechanics of it being that RPG balance. A lot of what they tried to do with Cyberpunk was talk about how your choices made such a big difference in the game, and everything you do changes the way characters act and all this stuff. Whereas with this game, they're basically just like, yo, you take this player, you make them your own, you explore some planets, you fly places, and you do missions, which is, you don't have to fake that. So detail-wise, yeah, maybe they'll skimp out on some stuff, but the overall direction of this game, I don't think they could pull an Anthem, to be honest. I don't think 2077 redeemed themselves either. I'm gonna look more into this DLC that they're releasing and see how they're fixing some of the things that they did. But like the ultimate core of the game with 2077, I think, went a little bit different from how they marketed it at first. because they marketed it as an RPG, and we can see here that like RPGs tend to go a little bit more in depth with that stuff than what they did. But you know, it's like an action adventure RPG kind of hybrid, and people are having tons of fun with it. So I'm not going to say it's a bad game. Just I don't think it's the game that we were meant to get.
You are, Captain.
Engines ready.
The frontier is fueled and ready, Captain.
There are not
So,
actual
I think the
gameplay
last
videos,
time
no.
we
Just
talked,
what
or
they've
maybe the
shown.
time before, I gave you a little grief for you Babe Ruthian, you called your shot with 11-11-22 really far in advance.
I did.
And I think we were having a little fun about that before the delay. So, I mean, it's good. We want a better game. We don't want, you to just make the date just for the sake of making the date.
You can walk around inside the interiors of ships. You can board other ships too. They've confirmed, and they showed it.
So just out of curiosity, like, how has the
Shifty, that's
exercise-
why I want to look at Skillup's video on that, yeah. I saw the title and I thought,
this is such
sounds good.
a big game. And as you do these things, you do your best as it comes to release dates and projections. But given the scale of it, if one thing is off that by a percentage, that can escalate quickly to more time.
Oh, we know, Todd.
And we've really spent it most of this year playing the game a ton, over and over, and making sure that it's balanced, it's as fun as possible, honing systems and interface, obviously bug fixing and all of those things, performance, and really getting it where we're really, really sure and solid on what we're putting out there for everybody.
Wait, if you see gameplay on YouTube from a company, you just assume it's a cinematic? You don't think that people are actually playing the game? Like, I mean, come on. Like, I'm not gonna say that they're not picking the best looking gameplay to show us, and that's why it's all cut up in clips and stuff, but come on. They can show us gameplay.
Well, speaking of performance, Xbox gamers went through a little unpleasant surprise with the last big Bethesda exclusive not too long ago with Redfall, and that maybe not performing on console on the Series X, kind of how we'd hoped. So just I think really all we're looking for is not
Yeah, you can shift the gameplay for sure, make it look
4K
better.
60 or 120 frames, but just
But again, we're not talking about the specific gameplay here. We're talking about the idea of the game. Like, I guess I could say it again. Cyberpunk sold us a game that was based on changing the world around you, changing how people perceived you. Characters would react, things would change, the game overall would change, as opposed to in Starfield, they're seeming to highlight the idea of character customization and fully rounding out your character. They don't have to put out cinematics to fake that. They can just show us the in-game menu and be like, hey, look, there's skill points. It's not hard.
Nobody likes surprises, when it comes to the game that they're going to buy, how it performs, how it feels.
Some companies do that, yeah. But you can tell.
These just boundary-pushing, envelope-pushing, huge, open, detailed worlds. They've been 30 frames per second on console traditionally. So I'm going to just turn it over for you for a second here. Just lay out, just so that nobody is surprised come September 6th. Sure. What are we looking at if I'm going to play this on a Series X, or even if you want to mention Series S as well?
If you want to mention
what's the experience going to be?
if you want to go
I think
there.
it'll come as no surprise, given our previous games, what we go for.
Hey, I agree with you, Ian. I've been saying the whole time I want uninterrupted gameplay, but I don't think the gameplay clips they showed us were cinematics. I think they just cut out the good pieces and showed us that. It doesn't make sense to fake the gameplay when you could just go play the game and not have to put in the time to make cinematics to fake it out.
Always these huge open worlds, fully dynamic, hyper detail where anything can happen. And we do want to do that. It's 4K in the X, it's 1440 on the S. We do lock it at 30 because we want that fidelity. We want all that stuff. We don't want to sacrifice any of it. Fortunately, in this one, we've got it running great. It's often running way above that. Sometimes it's 60. But on the consoles, we do lock it because we prefer the consistency.
Yeah.
Right? You're not even thinking about it. And we don't ever want to sacrifice that experience that makes our games, really, really special. So feels great. We're really happy with how it feels, even in the heat of battle. And we need that headroom because, in our games, really anything can happen.
He said it. With our games, we need that headroom.
Tweaking.
Yeah, it's coming to PC.
Optimizing. There were some rumors going around that id Software was helping you guys out with the combat, with tuning combat. I'm just curious, was there any truth to that at all?
Oh, that'd be cool.
They did not help us with the well, first of all, I'd say, being in the company, knowing the folks at id Software for a long time, I'm like a huge Doom fan.
I mean, they know what they're doing. That's why I ask.
They're the absolute best. Doom
awesome.
Eternal is one of my favorite games. And so with Fallout 4, they did give us a few tips on how to handle combat.
Oh, it's on Google Play. Nice.
With Starfield, we redid the combat ourselves, and it's really feeling great. But id has helped us really more on the graphic. They've helped us on the graphics side.
Oh, nice.
So when we get into motion blur, it's just how the game feels smooth. Some other things that they do in id Tech that we wanted to bring over into Creation Engine 2, and they helped us do that. And
that's awesome.
It's great.
I love to hear some collab.
It's a nice neighbor to have down the street. That
It
you can
is,
go
and
knock
I
on the
love-
door and ask for some milk and sugar, right?
And I'm such a fan of what they do, so being able to get an early look at what they're doing next, not here to talk about that, but it's just...
Oh, I mean, feel
awesome.
free to talk about that. I mean, if you want.
No.
All right. So
Talking to he's
I'm
looking at the
curious,
lawyers back
given
there.
You mentioned it's going to be just shy of 8 years between shipping Fallout 4 and shipping Starfield, which, to my knowledge, is the longest that you've ever gone between shipping games that you've directed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, obviously we had 76 in between, but it's something that I've directed, yes.
Yeah.
That is the longest.
So, can you I'm just curious about what was your initial vision for Starfield and how that's either stayed true and born.
It's already #2 on top sellers. I don't understand. Like, how will we ever get to the point where we can, as a market, learn to not pre-order in mass? It's a bummer. I mean, I'm all for people being excited about the game, but I guess it just encourages certain marketing tactics and certain ways of releasing games that continue. I don't know.
Out or evolved over the course of 8 years?
That's a great question. I will say this, that the game sticks to the original vision. That took longer than I wanted. But I'd say about halfway through the project, you realize this is why nobody tries to make
Not gonna
this
lie,
game.
I'm not gonna lie. I might actually do a pre-order if I can't get a review copy to make a video about this game, because obviously if I wait till the game launches to try and make a video, I will be left behind. So I'm gonna reach out to Bethesda and see if they can do anything like that. But I don't know. I don't want to pre-order it. We'll see. But I do want to be able to actually start producing content on it before it's out.
So it's been when you do these things and you take some risks and you're really ambitious, that can be a very windy path sometimes, is how I'd say it. But it is true to the vision we had for our type of role-playing game set in space and where your mind kind of goes. And we want to, as much as possible, say yes to the player. Like, can I do this? Can I do this? Yes, 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 yes. And space is big. So the amount of content that we ended up making to have that really feel authentic to that, that did grow and grow from where we originally started.
I mean, so neither one of us is getting younger. We've both been doing our respective things for a while.
Yeah.
So, are you okay with things taking 8 years?
When games were physical.
In the future, or
not my plan. I don't think you would ever plan for that. Sometimes that's how it ends up, so that you know that what you're putting on the screen is what you want. But you're right. I'm not getting younger. You sort of start,
Like, how many games
I probably
do you have
have
left in you?
Yeah. How many games are ahead of me?
Yeah.
Versus behind me, and so that does start to enter your head.
You know what I hate about these pirates?
Yeah, when games are taking 8 years, you got to pick and choose what you're working on, because you can't have a huge legacy. That's interesting. Yeah, Ian, I'm definitely not a combat person, so you can rest assured that's not the angle I'll be choosing. I can't shoot people for crap, as you've all seen.
Completely resistant to my otherwise irresistible charm.
Would you point to any other games as inspiration for Starfield along the way? I mean, not in the literal sense of, I want to do what they did, but in terms of giving the player a feeling that something that a game you played that you really wanted to convey. I mean, when you first showed me this game a while back, I mean, I certainly was reminded of Elder Scrolls and Fallout. I mean, there's the DNA is there, but the other, I would say, two non-Bethesda games that I got little vibes from were No Man's Sky and Mass Effect.
Well, clearly, those other games that are science fiction, I think you might look at and say, okay, this is science fiction, it's like that. I think the minute-to-minute, obviously on the ground, it has similarities to Elder Scrolls and Fallout and the things that we've made and how it feels in your hands or some certain mechanics. But believe it or not, it's the games that put you in a world, that transport you to a place. So I think it probably also as a flow probably has more of a feeling of like a Red Dead 2, right? Like I'm living the Western fantasy.
Yeah.
And so in this, you're living this science fiction explorer fantasy, and sometimes that's being on a barren planet and nothing is going on.
Or an Old West town, like we saw that in the direct,
right?
Old
Or
West inspired.
and all of that. So for me, it's games that where I feel I am rooted in the reality of this universe of the game, and everything else kind of disappears.
This is totally Todd's version of immersion. Look at this.
In the
Look at this.
reality
Check this guy
of
out.
this
Look at
universe
look.
of the game and everything.
He even does the hands. Todd and Chris were cut from the same cloth.
Everything else kind of disappears.
There was, like, I mean, as people have now seen, there was a lot in the direct, in the 45 minutes that were covered. A big takeaway for me was that for everything we saw, there was just sort of these hints of constellation, and that seems to be who the main story is going to revolve around. But separate from that, or kind of, I guess, adjacent to that, it seems like there's so much to do in this game that are you going to be okay if players just don't end up really necessarily even paying much attention to the main story and just end up kind of doing their own thing out there, or are you going to are you taking kind of greater pains
the
to
lips,
make sure
dude.
that
Ow.
people want to stay and get through that main path before they get back out to the wild space frontier?
It's a good question. I view our job as giving people the menu.
Yeah.
Here are the things you can do, and it's a very large game. Obviously, there's a lot to it. It can be complicated at times, and we have found though that the gaming audience, particularly our fans, they want to have all those options. And I do think more than anything we've done, I really believe this, that the more you give to Starfield, the more it gives back to you. And that was one of our goals. And so I do hope people play the main quest, and I hope people do this, but most of all, I want them ultimately to do whatever they want to do.
Yeah. I mean, I know you don't want to give away a lot about,
Oh my God, that
about
looks
the
scary.
main storyline, certainly, and people don't want to have that spoiled for them, but what I would be curious of, given, again,
They are being very mum about the main storyline. They're kind of just letting us know it has to do with the artifacts and exploration, and they're really not getting into detail about it. That's something I like. I can respect that. Whoops. Give me sound.
this that the direct conveyed and that I barely scratched the surface of when I was playing a little while ago, of these 1,000 planets, of all this stuff you've got going on, how much of it will the main story...
To be honest, Agent, if Star Citizen stopped adding features and put out the game as it is right now, they'd probably get more hate than anything else, because they would be dropping a ton of things that they told people were going to be in the game. So, you know, as much as they should get a game out, they're building the game that they should be getting out. And I think it's unfortunate that probably the biggest setback was the planetary, what's it called? Planet creation that happened in 2015. And I think that massively set them back, which is really one of the bigger problems with that development cycle. But I think that what's good to see here with Starfield, and this is probably the only thing I'm going to say about Star Citizen, because I'm really, oh God, I'm so drained from the comparisons already. What's good that we're seeing here with Starfield is that it is expanding the breadth of games we can have access to. As of now, if you wanted to play a good space game, whether it was a space sim or an RPG or a puzzle game or something, you're pretty limited to things like Mass Effect, Outer Worlds, Outer Wilds, Elite Dangerous, No Man's Sky. And then you start to get into kind of the more indie-ish kind of games like Spaceborne, X4, Outlaw, that kind of stuff. So I think what we're seeing with Starfield is just another chance for us to expand and play other things and not maybe obsess over something that's taken a while. Because things that are going to take a while are going to take a while. Things that might not take as long won't take as long, and we should enjoy them on their timelines, you know? Really think the anti-gravity bit at the end was a close to a hint as we're going to get of the main story? Yeah, that must have been main story related. Good call.
Towards, like, you know what I mean? Like, because you probably want to show as much of the diversity and as many of the cool places that your team worked really hard on over the course of the campaign, but you can't show everything. You can't lead them up to 1,000 different planets, right?
We want to keep it sort of, you know, manageable. That's what I would say in the main quest. So we hit some high points, but not even, you know, it's still a small fraction, like you're saying, to what's in the game. And for us, like a main quest, we want it to sort of pay off. There are people that do want to come to a game, do the main story, and feel that, okay, I have won. I can now do something else. I think that's okay too. But we've also learned, look, we're sitting here, it's 12 years after Skyrim. We're looking at a game that has over 60 million copies and all these people playing it, and they're still playing it. And so we have learned we need to build in from the beginning a game that has this long-term play thought of. So that, you know, hopefully, you know, people are playing Starfield a long time from now.
Well, you know, on that note, you guys have always done post-release content. You know, if you've had like major paid, bigger expansions, you've had smaller scale stuff. I can't imagine that you'd even want to necessarily expand this game geographically moving forward, because there's already a ton there. So like, I know you're not here to just give away your announce your.
Oh my God. Imagine if one of the DLC was like straight up Elite Dangerous Thargoid kind of energy. Like they introduced an alien species that just completely changed the way that the game plays. I guess that wouldn't really work in a narrative-based game like this. That'd be cool though. I don't think there's any timeline between Xbox and PC release. It's going to be same day, I'm pretty sure. They're pretty fair on that. They like their PC gamers. I don't think that they're holding back Squadron. I think if Squadron was ready, they'd be trying to push it out by now. That's an important game. I don't think they have a reason to hold it back, other than it's just not finished.
Your post-release plan, but like conceptually, how are you thinking about it? Given
it'll work out a lot better if the PU's in a better place, though.
Rather than just a continent like in Cyrodiil and in an Elder Scrolls game.
Right, it's a great question. I mean, look, we're going to be doing a lot of add-on content for Starfield. We love doing it. Our fans love it. We will have announced sort of the first one that's going to we're going to do a story expansion pack that's going to be coming. Our plan is to do things of varying sizes, and we've done a lot of that in our previous games. So it's something that we really like doing, our fans like. So despite the size of the game, there's still things we want to add as far as features in the future and stories and things like that. So we think this is going to game, hopefully, that's going to continue for a long time that way.
At the end of the Direct, we heard from a bunch of folks on your team about their favorite moments that they've had while playing. Can you paint me a specific picture of a memorable moment for a character that you've rolled that you've been playing in recent months? Like some just memorably cool scenario.
Let's see, just a few weeks ago, I had landed on one of the early planets, and this sandstorm blew through, and I went to run away from it, and this, ships can randomly, once in a while, they can randomly land, like enemy ships can land. So I'm going through the sandstorm, the ship landed, and I get in this firefight, and I got on the ship, and while I'm shooting the guys on the surface of the planet, the ship took off into space.
What?
So now I'm in outer space on the ship, and I was just like, can that happen? I guess that can happen. Yeah.
Really?
One of my favorite.
That's interesting. So, but if it's a loading screen transition from ground to space, how does that work? Would you just be in the ship interior and the outside would change around you? I feel like they don't. That's interesting to hear. I'm surprised that can happen.
So now I'm in outer space on the ship, and I was just like, can that happen? I guess that can happen. Yeah.
Okay.
One of my favorite moments from Oblivion, which I've told you many times is my favorite game of yours. That's the one that I have the most positive memories with. Was randomly finding a unicorn in the forest.
That is yes, you can do that there.
So, are there like 50 of those kinds of things
There's a
in
good
this
number.
game where
There's
there's
a
just
lot.
stuff that's not a quest,
Yeah, but what I'm wondering, so like it's a loading segment, but what I'm wondering is, do the firefights continue? If you look out the window, what do you see? Do you see yourself flying out into space, or do you see like a black screen? Does it just immediately go from like you're on a planet's surface to you're in outer space? I'm just wondering how that gets translated to the player.
This memorable special.
I don't want to spoil what they are, but yeah, of course, we love that stuff, and we have some really, really special ones in this game that I think I'm very curious to see how long after the game is out, that people discover it.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned Skyrim and tens and tens of millions of copies of that in the sort of historic
maybe a
train
cutscene
that thing's been. I mean, you probably can't count on that level of success again necessarily. So what does success look like for you with this game?
That's a good question, because with Game Pass, we're obviously going to be bringing in, probably the biggest audience that we've had for a launch. And so it just makes you really fortunate to know that you can take these kind of risks with a game like this and be ambitious, but still know that it's going to get in a lot of people's hands. So, I mean, I think for us it is that...
They're softball questions.
People say they love the game. And I think all games go through a couple phases. Like, you have this phase where the game isn't out yet. What do people think of it? Then there's like, what do they think of it the first week it comes out?
Hey, Plutonium, thank you so much for the Prime sub on Twitch. Appreciate your support.
But then you got to think about, what do they think after a year? What do they think after year 2? And so I hope that, it sort of stands the test of time, like our other games. I don't focus on like the number of users in that way.
But I guess you can't really design for a game that will stand the test of time, right? You just have to do your best and hope that it works out.
That is very true. You do the absolute best that you can do. Again, the whole team is we have really poured ourselves in this one over a lot of years. And, you cross your fingers, you do everything you can. There are systems you can design that say, hey, look, this system is going to work over a long-term play, over hundreds of hours, like a character system, versus, after 30, you've burned through everything. That's certainly not the case here.
It's clearly not.
Mesa, thank you for the sub, dude.
The 1,000 planets number is the big one that you've been
Appreciate you pushing us towards that train.
What's the ratio of the procedurally generated stuff to the handcrafted stuff?
Well, the planets themselves, the landscapes, pretty much all procedural. We kind of make these large, think kilometer-sized tiles we've generated, and those get kind of wrapped around the planet. As far as handcrafted content, more than any game we've done. I've stopped giving out numbers, but just in the dialogue, it's more than it's more than Skyrim and Fallout 4 combined. Just in dialogue, right? So as we get into locations and art and everything, we've done more of it than we've ever done.
Wow. Is it reasonable to suggest that if Starfield is as awesome and successful as we all hope it is, that as gamers, is it reasonable to think that a Starfield 2 is 10 plus years away? Because the reason I bring this up, not to bring it back to
it makes sense.
How much time do we all have left? But you have always kept.
Is this going to get depressing?
No, I hope not.
Okay.
But you've always kept your team, clearly on purpose, as one team. Bethesda Game Studios, your team, and you had been alternating between Elder Scrolls and then once you acquired it, Fallout, and you'd gone back and forth, and now you've had this 8-year Starfield thing in here. You've already committed to Elder Scrolls 6 as the next thing. You said it's in pre-production. And then last year when we talked, You said, yep, Fallout 5, I want to do that, that'll be next.
That was more of like a general, it will clearly be after Elder Scrolls 6 at some
Look at how
point.
quickly he jumped on that.
You said, yep, Fallout 5, I want to do that, that'll be next.
That was
Look
more
at him,
like
he's
a
like, oh, wait,
general,
wait,
it
wait,
will
wait, wait.
clearly be after Elder Scrolls 6 at some point.
Okay,
That's
well,
like, let me clarify that one.
all right.
At some point in the future.
But so, okay, so...
Don't
but if
misquote
Elder
me.
Scrolls 6 is the next one.
Yeah, but if Starfield's awesome and you want to do another one, and the team wants to do another one, and the company wants another one, it sounds like it's probably going to be a while.
I don't have a great answer for you there. It's an astute observation.
I mean, I'm not trying to get you to unveil the roadmap. Like, I'm just because again, you've kept your team.
It's like I feel like it's pretty clear they're in a tough spot. They've got 3 different franchises that do really, really well, but take a long time to make, and they've got to make another Fallout game after the Elder Scrolls game. I mean, he could always do another team for this game, but he does make a point. Like, if they start splitting up the team for the games, how does that change the games? But you can't really answer that without saying, yeah, it's going to be a while. It's going to be a while.
You have, to date, not like grown a second team within the studio, unless you have, and that's...
Well, we have what I would call, a full-size group team on 76 still.
Right.
Updating that game, it's doing great, very fortunate. But you're right in that we have gotten bigger. We have 4 studios. We have the one in Rockville, we have Montreal, we have Austin, we have Dallas. So we have gotten bigger to handle all this. We work with a lot of partners on stuff.
Okay.
But that doesn't speed things up necessarily, right? You need a certain size. We're relatively small comparatively.
Right.
To do
Yeah,
these
Todd's
things.
looking at the
And
lawyers
I
like,
think
did you guys
if we
read
look at
this?
Skyrim, again, not the plan to have an Elder Scrolls 6 this far after Skyrim, but in today's day, people are playing these games for longer. So our ability, like we talked about, to support
Well, when you
Starfield,
release it on
whereas maybe
everything in the
you put
world,
it out
Todd,
and you go on to the
they're going to
sequel,
keep
now
playing
we
it.
can support that game for a much longer period of time, which is what our plan is. And then as we look to like an Elder Scrolls 6, that is one where like, I probably shouldn't say this, but if I do the math, I am not getting any younger. How long do people play an Elder Scrolls for? That may be the last one I do.
Oh!
I don't know.
The last Elder Scrolls.
The last Elder Scrolls.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't know.
I mean, I do the math as a game.
Okay, I see why the article got that wrong. He says the last Elder Scrolls. I'm pretty sure he means the last Elder Scrolls he does, but they just kind of don't say that.
Yes. I don't know. That's one I do. I don't know.
The last Elder Scrolls.
The last Elder
The last Elder Scrolls he does.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't know.
I mean, I do the math as a gamer, and it's like, am I even going to be playing Elder Scrolls 6 on the Series X, or am I going to be playing that on the next thing? Because it's crazy how long the games that you make they take a long time.
I wish they did. I mean, I want them to be faster, but that speed isn't the goal.
Right. Or should it
The
be?
goal is, hey, what's the product? What's the vision? How do we do this? And how do we continue to support the ones that we currently have? Because we have millions of people playing Fallout 4, millions playing 76, Skyrim. So it's about, hopefully have that with Starfield.
You had told me last year that you want to direct Fallout 5, like that you want that to be your game at some point down the road. But now with the Microsoft, Bethesda, Xbox Game Studios family getting a lot bigger, you did work with Obsidian years ago with New Vegas. Could any of the games that you and your team have created, any of these 3 franchises, would you would you want to work with any of them potentially on something in the future?
I mean, I can't say never to any of that. For us, it is what's going to get us the best product.
Yeah.
How do we stay focused?
Love
there's
that
a lot
gun.
of times where you can get unfocused and try to do too many things at once, and then they don't end up necessarily the way you want. And so if I look at other franchises or I look at entertainment in general, I haven't noticed like the time gap between things being a negative.
Right.
They can be a negative when you think about it and you make a calendar.
Yeah.
Hey, when
Well,
Starfield 2.
Look at Grand Theft Auto. Like
Exactly.
That hasn't suffered in the
Or,
slightest.
the gaps between, I think Half-Life 3 will do fine. right? So, so even though in the moment, like, how do I bring that closer to reality today? Because I want to play it. Those gaps, these are still evergreen franchises that I think when they come, it's about just doing it right.
Yeah, well, that's what we as gamers want to hear too, certainly. So Starfield, I played an hour. It felt like 3 minutes. There was, and you were like hustling me along to different save files, like, go look at this, go look at this. What's the character you're playing now? Because you've got the traits, you've got the background. So like, what are you maining right now?
Well, I try to do it all. Right now, I'm digging deep on spaceships.
God, I really love to be running this interview. I have so many questions for Todd on this. We didn't, like, he said he was going to start from top down and then go to really detailed stuff, but we didn't even talk about like game design in this conversation. I feel like, I mean, a little bit, but just it's like very outer shell stuff.
So, I mean, you could say in some respects, this is like 5 or 6 games in one, right? It's the spaceship game, it's a on-the-ground game, it's just a dialogue
on the podcast.
Game,
hey, Todd. Hey, Todd Howard, you want to come on my... You want to come on my podcast, dude? I can't guarantee you're going to get listened to by a ton of people. No, that's crazy. If I got to do an interview with Todd Howard, that'd blow up. Probably just, not as much as an IGN interview.
It does all of these things, and so... And it always is tricky for us to get a good game flow where those things don't feel like they're separate games, that they can weave in and out of them in a way that is holistically creates something, greater than the sum of its parts.
What a view! It's a feast for the eyes. Off we go to another adventure.
To help
honestly, I
contextualize
might shoot him too.
for players before they get the chance to play it themselves. What's the feeling that you try to give people with Elder Scrolls? What's the feeling that you try to give people with Fallout? And what's the feeling that you try to give players with this?
Hey, Finley, thank you for the sub.
I would say if
y'all are blessing me today.
about,
Thank you, Twitch.
Elder Scrolls with a fantasy world, who would you want to be and what would you want to do? We want to provide that.
Yeah.
And then Fallout, the same thing in a post-apocalyptic environment. How does that factor into the things you find? And how does crafting is very unique in Fallout when it comes to that? Or what's the vibe of the people? What are they sacrificing to stay alive? And then when you get to Starfield and science fiction...
Wait, what was that? Oh, Fallout.
And then when you get to Starfield and science fiction, same sort of thing where if you were to open it up and you could do anything, how are we providing that experience? And we love exploration, so when you get into a game like this, that's why people say, why do you have 1,000 planets? Because we'd rather give you the option to do that than say no.
Yeah.
And so I think if people drift toward fantasy, they're going to love it. They're going to stick with Elder Scrolls. If they like post-apocalyptic, they go to Fallout. They like science fiction. We hope that Starfield fills that kind of desire to play that kind of thing with Starfield.
Todd Howard, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Starfield out September 6th. Series X, Series S, PC. Looking forward to playing a heck of a lot more.
I gotta say, it's exciting, this game. I'm looking forward to it. I wish this interview had given us a little bit more, but no, overall, I'm pretty interested in it. What do you guys think? What are your thoughts, huh? I can't get over the fact that it really feels like this is the perfect time for a game like this. There's so much like pressure built up. Actually, this game will be a good barometer. This game's going to tell us if the mainstream is getting into sci-fi more, because I feel like, I mean, even Astropub was saying it yesterday on the show. Generally, sci-fi is still fairly niche when it comes to games. So it would be great to get an idea of how this sells compared to something like, I don't know, a recent really good fantasy game. Elden Ring, maybe. That's a heavy hitter. Could probably pick something that's a little less impressive than that, but I think that this could tell us how many people are really looking for sci-fi games. And at the end of the day, if people play this and they love it, they're going to look for more sci-fi. And we are the beneficiaries of that. You probably won't buy it at full price with Todd's track record. Just your opinion. This is why I have Game Pass. I mean, I'll be getting a copy probably for review purposes, but I use Game Pass because I don't like buying games at full price. They're expensive, and there's a lot of them. And I'd rather be able to try one out and then buy it after we like it, which we've done multiple times. It's a story-driven game for people that don't want to be the hotshot pilot. Story is a big part. I would say it might even be more character-driven. Looking forward also to this game. Hope it delivers, though. I do hope it plays how they're marketing it. That's the thing, is like we're seeing a lot of very good stuff here, but we still don't know how it's going to play. We have an idea of how it's going to play, just not a confirmation. Elden Ring was so good. Never played it. I am just not a big fantasy fan. This is your first BGS game, Plutonium? Were you around for earlier games like Fallout 4 and Skyrim, or are you just now getting into gaming, or have you just ignored them till now? Are you like me, more of a space and sci-fi game kind of person? Even people that don't like sci-fi games will buy Starfield. That is true. But even people who don't like fantasy games will buy Skyrim. So it does equal out, I think. In fact, I bet more people who don't like fantasy would buy that. Yeah, it's a day one Game Pass. All of these games are going to be day one Game Pass. Only negative comment you've heard is Asmongold, and that was straight up because he doesn't like sci-fi. I get that. Stick around in my chat for a little bit. You hear a lot more negative content comments, RoboClaw. You pre-ordering is a write-off. For us, it is falling to the FOMO that we create for ourselves. Right. Yeah, I would not pre-order this if I didn't feel the need to create content early. I mean, I have Game Pass, so it comes out on day one. And like you said, it is literally a write-off. We can write it off on taxes. Waiting till you're done with Phantom Liberty to play Starfield? I feel that. I think that's like a 3-week overlap or something like that. Or 3 weeks Starfield and 3 weeks later is Cyberpunk. You love both? Why can't we have both sci-fi and fantasy? Oh, of course. It's great to have both. But like, I can't get over... In fact, let's look this up real quick. Fantasy RPGs. And we'll say space RPGs. Sci-fi is a little bit broad. So then you're getting into things like Cyberpunk, although I bet you they're going to include that in this list anyways. All right, so we got space on this. Oh, you can already see this is 12 more. This is 42 more. Let's see what they say, though. Yeah, you got good ones like The Witcher, Elder Scrolls. Stardew Valley is a fan. Okay. And then, oh, Knights of the Old Republic, of course, a fantasy art. Google. Come on now. But like, even something like Greedfall, which was not a great game, but it was well, actually, maybe it was a good game. I only heard an initial sort of talk about it. But like, Greedfall is one of those sort of middle-of-the-line RPGs that I'd be like, okay, that's cool. I could have used a game like that for us. Like, that's kind of like the Outer Worlds when it comes to sci-fi. But then you look at the other sci-fi RPGs, and this one is already on the other list. So they're just double dipping here. But there really aren't that many choices. I hope that Starfield can help to bring that more into the limelight. My review will determine if you... Oh man, that's pressure, Mornstar. I've never reviewed a game before, to be honest. Actually, I guess I kind of did review Cyberpunk. I did like an early impressions video about Cyberpunk, saying I'm whelmed, and then I never did a follow-up review because I got tired of the game. Shame on me. But I will review this one for you. Yeah, Game Pass is Microsoft. Starfield needs multiplayer, and it's very doable when you look at No Man's Sky and its simple instance-based servers. I would be wary of saying things are very doable in the video game space. Things seem kind of hard. You're gonna do the same thing you did with Cyberpunk, wait for it to come out, see how it goes for a few weeks. Yeah, with Cyberpunk, you only had to wait 24 hours. Outer Worlds was fun. Interestingly, they didn't say anything about Outer Worlds 2 at the Xbox Game Show. They also didn't say anything about Contraband, which was interesting. I didn't like Cyberpunk when it initially launched. No. I had the wrong expectations, I guess, going for the game. That might be my fault, might be the marketing's fault, but it was not the game that I was hoping it would be. When it comes to a Cyberpunk world, I look for something that's a little more along the lines of Deus Ex and how they handle it. And it does sound like with the new Liberty City expansion, they're going a bit more in that direction with the political conspiracies, and it sounds like it's more based in morality. So that's exciting, but again, the base game wasn't exactly what I was looking for. Anno, thank you so much for hanging out and modding, dude. I'll catch you later. Appreciate you. Have a good one. You're sold. You love single-player RPGs. The fact that it's sci-fi makes it even better. I'm with you there. I think the sci-fi bit is what really draws me to it, but I would still be interested in a Bethesda RPG, even if it wasn't full-on sci-fi. Although I'm not a big fan of Fallout games. You don't like the loot from ships aspect? It's quite arcadey, but I understand they can't do EVA outside of the ships. Final thoughts on Starfield? I already have to give final thoughts? I haven't even played it yet. Overall, it's looking like the perfect sci-fi RPG. The perfect space-based RPG. So if it plays like that, then I have no qualms. I've been waiting for this for decades. Maybe not decades. A decade. 12 years, I would say. I've been waiting for a space RPG, and this might actually be something I enjoy more than Mass Effect. I'm not going to say that yet from what we've seen. I've got to play it first, but I love Mass Effect. I love the dialogue system the most. I think that's where they really killed it with the dialogue and the relations and all that stuff. But this being so focused on your character might actually get me more. I'm very excited for it. I'm looking forward to playing this a lot. Gonna be making videos about this pretty regularly up until launch. I've got one already in the works. I'm not gonna do any sort of review on this stuff. I think there's probably enough videos talking about all this information. But I'm gonna do something that's a little bit more along the lines of what I've been saying. That the game feels like it's the perfect time. It feels like they could not have nailed this in a better way, and the reasons why people might like it. So yeah, I'm set on this game. I've already made a few videos on it, and I knew I was gonna like it, but this just made me more excited. Not so much that I would say it's an immediate buy for people, but enough to say it has my definite attention. A little arcadey. It also has a less cinematic feel from Mass Effect. Thoughts on the new open world Star Wars game? They're going to show gameplay for that game in about an hour and a half. I won't be live, unfortunately, but I will probably do some kind of viewing of that on YouTube and post that tomorrow. So I can't speak much towards the Star Wars game. It's cool because it doesn't include Jedi or the Force, which makes me very happy because I feel like there's like an inverse relation of interest that I have in Star Wars. The more Force there is, the less interested I am. So I like to see another piece of Star Wars fiction coming out that's focusing more on the actual people of that universe as opposed to the mystical forces that guide it. Definitely going to be playing it. For sure, good time waster in between patches. This is going to complement Star Citizen so well. So freaking well. Like cheese and wine. Now, I don't know which one is the cheese. I think Star Citizen smells a little bit more, so I think Star Citizen is probably going to be the cheese. But then again, wine takes longer, so maybe Star Citizen is the wine. I don't know, but the pairing feels perfect for like, sometimes I just want to scoot around in a ridiculously immersive environment and just like cargo haul my way to death for 2 hours. Sometimes I want to jump in and run a couple missions and like meet people and do fun things. I'm so excited for how the different experiences are going to contrast with each other. Hope this game lives up to the hype or it's going to break Tomato's heart. I know it's not going to live up to the hype. I'm ready for that. I'm ready for every game sounds better before you play it. So, you know, I'm excited for it. I'm looking forward to it. I'm optimistic about it, but it's cautious. What are my thoughts on Squadron 42, and do I think it will beat Starfield hype? No. No way. Squadron 42 will never beat Starfield hype. There's not a method that they could use to get that hype to be higher than what Starfield will be. It's just not possible. This game is going to have so many eyes on it. Not only that, it has the track record of Bethesda behind it. And it looks way more accessible to a higher amount of people. Squadron is kind of like Mass Effect in that it's super military focused. So like you kind of got to be into that idea to be into the game. Whereas this is like, hey, be your own person. Do your own thing. You could probably beat this whole game without killing a non-boss NPC. So I don't think Squadron would ever beat this in terms of hype. I don't think that... They're two very different games, despite them both being in space. Yeah, Star Wars Outlaws is what I was talking about. Andor is what got me back into Star Wars. That's why I really like the lack of Force. And it's also part of why I was watching Mandalorian. But, you know, the Force isn't too much in the Mandalorian, which is fine. The success of this game can help Squadron sales. Yeah. Starfield is going to be a boon to space games. Squadron has the actors going for it, which is probably unnecessary. But, you know, Chris, he wants to be a movie director. Can't wait for the modding community to polish and expand this game. Did they talk about modding support? No, not really. I don't think that there's going to be a problem with modding, though. Microsoft seems to be pretty keen on that kind of stuff. Less force, more space life of the everyday, man. Finley, did you see the new Star Wars game that's coming out? I think next year they're planning for it. Get on Galaxy's Edge audiobook. What is that? Is that a... Let me see what that is. Galaxy's Edge. Nobody buys a game because of the actors and cutscenes. You'd be surprised, actually. When Mark Hamill posted about Squadron 42, a lot of people said they were going to get it because of him. Not necessarily get it. They thought it was a show, and they were saying they would watch it, but... Legionnaire and Galactic Outlaws. Alright, I'll add it to my list. Oh, is it free? Why does it just say play? Do I already own this? What? That's weird. It just let me add it to my library. Okay. It's non-PG Star Wars? What does that mean? You heard good stuff about Galaxy's Edge? Okay. You think it's still in the same Bethesda engine, so it shouldn't be long before mods are out. Yeah, Creation Engine 2. I'll watch that game. They thought it was a Netflix show. They thought Mark Hamill was coming out in some new Netflix show that was like spaceship based. It's pretty funny. Catch you later, Black to Burn. Thanks for hanging out. Starfield is going to negatively affect Star Citizen's funding for Q4 of 2023. Okay. Cool game concept. Acting does not a good game make. It does help a lot, though. It's nice that video games feel like actual art forms now. Like they can compete with movies and limited series and stuff. You can get a really good story out of a video game now. You'd be surprised if Bethesda doesn't pursue multiplayer at a later date. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe yeah, as a like later date. Shipbuilding is a very cool feature here. Again, I'm not sure how much I'm going to care about it, but the fact that you can just like put it together and then go walk around inside of it. That's the crazy part. That's the kind of thing that I feel like they would not have been able to do if they had released this game 10 years ago. I don't know what that takes a lot of, CPU, maybe RAM, I'm not sure, but like it doesn't feel like that would have been possible before. Mods will be out in the first week. Bethesda gives modders files to make the script extender and stuff before the game even comes out. Hopefully that the stuff doesn't change under Microsoft. You think it will make Star Citizen look more like a scam? Why is that? Most likely when you're inside the ship, it's stationary in an isolated form. Which is fine, as long as I get to be in it. Mark Hamill you get, but the star cast is kind of archaic at this point. If they just recast them with notable VAs, it wouldn't surprise you. They're like old buddies, you know? They were in the Wing Commander movies, John Rhys Davies and Mark Hamill. Gary Oldman, I guess, I feel like Gary Oldman's still pretty in style. Same with Henry Cavill. Gillian Anderson, not as much. What's that guy's name? I always forget his name. Sir Davos from Game of Thrones. Crap, I can't remember his name. But I guess he would be considered a smaller actor, I think, than those other people. Just saying that you think a lot of people are going to be distracted by Starfield. I do think people will definitely love Starfield. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting game. It's hard not to be distracted by it. Look at it. Catch you later, Raincloud. Thanks for hanging out. Best of luck at the docks appointment. You agree because Starfield didn't take over 10 years for an alpha? Because Starfield didn't take over 10 years for an alpha, it'll make Star Citizen look like a scam? Even though Starfield was made by a already functional company and also took 8 years and is a single player game? Liam Cunningham. Thank you. That's the name. Yeah. That dude. I'm not going to say that like Star Citizen has had a perfect development, but I don't think Starfield coming out in 8 years means Star Citizen is worse than it is. I think people are going to play Starfield and then want to play a space game with other players. Maybe. Some of us just hate other players, you know? Starfield will be a good escape from griefers. That's until the NPCs start catching on to you. The only thing Starfield is to Star Citizen's room for improvement, not even same niche. Starfield could turn out to be flat, depends on what we haven't seen yet. I think this is going to be... Hey, pigeons. Don't come in here. The window is not open for you. I know it's cozy, but these pigeons just like... I think they're hiding from me. I know you're out there. They're trying to play some Starfield. It's going to spark a new interest in Star Citizen for a lot of people. It'll spark a new interest in space. Yeah. I mean, we've got astronauts going to the moon. We've got the James Webb Space Telescope giving us stuff that we've never seen before. We've got another kind of space race going on with everybody trying to prepare for missions to Mars. Sci-Fi TV is killing it. For All Mankind. What was that one? The big space opera one on Apple TV, whatever that was called. The Expanse was huge. People loved it. Like, people are hyped for space. It just hasn't gotten to video games yet. This could be the reason, you know? And this could get people more interested in those kind of games. $500 million should result in a AAA studio, or the funds have been terribly mismanaged. Why do you say that? Let's say, so to put in perspective, in fact, how about I'm gonna quote you on that. 500 million should make enough for a AAA studio. Let's look at let's look at Cloud Imperium Games financials and see if 500 million would do it. So they release these every year. If you guys want to go in and look at how they're spending their money, it's not a secret. So salaries in the US went from, I think this is in thousands. Salary cost for development. What is this? Yeah, this is in thousands. So salary went from 290,000 to, I don't know, 17.11199 thousand. So 1.7 million. My maths. Other game development costs, I think, is where the servers come in. Online server. Here we go. Costs of running game and development online services, including salaries for community support, marketing staff, external events, cost of platform publishing, and Amazon Web Services hosting and data costs. So that would be under this: publishing, operations, community events, and marketing, which is currently costing them $17,970,000 a year. So to make a AAA studio, they'd have to simultaneously run all these servers, pay out all of their employees, build up the actual physical like buildings and stuff, and also all of the computer components and everything. I don't think 500 million is going to build a AAA studio in a year or two. Over the course of 10 years, it might, but I do think that's why we've only just started to see them finally hit that stretch of they're actually doing good development. Back here, they didn't have 500 million. Even back here in 2016, they didn't have 500 million. So it's been going up over time, and you can see that their costs have too. So when we say that, how much money does it take to make a AAA studio, you gotta take into account how much cost it's taking to run the game, how much cost it's taking to move people around. I don't think it's a apple to apples comparison, which is why I never try to do it. I never try to say whether or not they should have done enough stuff with this money. I do think that they've made mistakes, but how much money does it cost to start a AAA studio? Has anybody in chat done it? Or like, is there a documentary on it? Because all I know is this is like the best insight I have into it. I don't know if there are better reports on this kind of stuff. But from what I've seen, it's pretty freaking expensive. I think they spend something like 120 something thousand just on servers. Per month, I think they said, or something like that. I'm actually not going to quote that because that came from somebody else. Personally, you think this will give SE even worse rep? If you notice in the main MMO community, a lot of people already see SE as a scam, which sucks because you know they never played it. I mean, that's been true for a long time. GTA 6 is already over 1 billion in cost? I don't know. That sounds like a lot. Oh yeah, Telltale's doing the Expanse game too. There's another good that's another good really good game that's coming out that could do a lot for the sci-fi community. Yeah, CIG isn't a startup anymore, but I think thinking of them as a AAA studio at any time before, say, the last 3 years makes them sound bigger than they were. Also good to know that CIG is indeed making 2 games at the same time. I'm going to keep this up so you guys can read it if you want. They're still attached to their funding model. Other studios can get bankrolled a bit by parent company investors and other products. That's why they probably want to get Squadron out. Being on the software dev industry, I could see parallels of bad management. I'm, again, not denying that there have not been some bad mistakes here. There is a reason that the game didn't like come out anytime near when it was supposed to. They straight up changed the not the concept, but they changed a lot of the design of it. And I don't think they did a good job of reining in. They changed the concept. So they were like, okay, we're going to have this game with repair and refueling and salvaging and combat. And then they went and said, okay, but we're going to have physicalized planets that you can land on and do all this stuff. Oh, well, in that case, we need to be able to do those things on the ground too. What they could have done is just rein that in and say, we're not going to expand the existing features to match what we're doing with planets. But I think they really wanted to make sure that planets were a big part of the game. And that was where a lot of that sort of expansion of the game came from between like 2015 and 2018. So much ignorance goes into these SC bashing comments. It's really sad people don't bother to educate themselves. I mean, it's not easy to figure this stuff out. It's nice that they put all this out in plain text, but like, how the heck is somebody supposed to understand what this all means, you know? The total expenditures, the first year that they were in production, they made less than $2 million. So they might not have been thinking of something amazing at that point. By the time they get up to 2015 though, and they're making 50 million in a year, well then things kind of change. And obviously expand. Danger, thank you for the super chat. This competition is good for everyone. Thanks for the great chat and content. No problem. Thanks for joining us. As we used to say, the first months we were working for peanuts. I feel that. You'll defend game devs of any kind and any kind of person that does code because you're biased. I'll defend game devs and code makers because it's freaking complicated. And like if you show me a rocket, I at least have some concept of how you're supposed to make that. When it comes to game code though, I'm like, magicians, you do your work and tell me what to pay you. For all of our people, we just pay them in spaceships. I'm not streaming Ubisoft Forward. I'll be offline by then. I will be probably doing something about it tomorrow, though. CIG doesn't make it easy to like them. They do things that are annoying, for sure. Yeah. I would agree with you there, Astropub. They're becoming a software company. They'll license it out. This is always possible. Do you think SC is a good game? Just think they need to focus more on finishing the game than running it more of a live service like they do at the moment. Yeah, and that's an interesting discussion to have. Like, if they just cut the PU right now and just focused on development, would the development go better or worse? Would they lose too much money too quickly to finish it off? Or on the other side of things, maybe they cut all feature development, polished what was there, and released that as Star Citizen. Would that hurt them greatly because they're cutting off promises that they made and kind of shrinking the game down? Because a lot of people, like what a lot of people are saying about Starfield being, you know, some kind of a shot off of Star Citizen's bow. If Star Citizen stopped their game right now, it might not be that expansive in comparison. You know, a lot of people are drawn in by how much Star Citizen is bringing together in terms of the economy and interactivity and all that stuff. You cut that all out, does it ruin that special vibe? They don't know how to talk with their community or non-community people well while making just buying the game confusing. They put themselves in the place. I've got a perfect example for you there, Astropub. Let me pull this up real quick. It's a video I'm working on all about Star Citizen and why they might not be fixing all of the bugs. And funny enough, in order to get the proper testimonial about why they might not fix all the bugs at once and why they might be building the game the way they do, I couldn't find footage from CIG that says this. And I think this is a good point to what you said, Astropub. I had to go and find a video from Satisfactory to explain it, because they do a pretty decent job of talking to their community and putting things into very simple terms and explaining. So I'll show you the part that I'm talking about, because it annoyed me that I couldn't just find something from Star Citizen for this. It also felt kind of, you know, obviously it was nice to see another company who had the same sort of idea around this. Your game loops, like, building these major missing aspects. Shut up. Where is that? Here we go. Towards the goal is not an easy one to shoulder. It's best laid out, in my opinion, by Jace, a former community manager for another game I love, Satisfactory.
Not only that, but maintaining a high level of stability during active development is also incredibly inefficient, okay? This is because it would mean consistently undoing and redoing work that we've done before in order to stabilize the game when the game's design is constantly changing and new features are being added. Not only that, but adding new features risks instability anyway as it is, whether or not we're redoing and undoing work. So, and long term, this makes no sense because it would mean that it would take us, like, I don't know, twice as long to finish the game when we could just do it in half the amount of the time if we were to accept some level of growing pains. We've been working on Satisfactory for like 6 or 7 years now, and if we were chasing all these bugs to clean them all up at every possible step of the way, we wouldn't be nearly as far in development as we are now. Financially, this is awful, and then maybe even interest-wise, you guys wouldn't be getting any new stuff, and it would get very boring.
It sounds pretty familiar. Okay. That was... I feel like that really speaks there, because, like, CIG could be saying things like that, and I'm sure they probably have. You just don't, like, I don't know, the messaging is a little bit different. Shouldn't even be spending time on bugs, just leave the game in a broken mess and keep releasing it. Well, we gotta be able to play. Yeah. Ubisoft Forward is going live in 5 minutes. I don't think that's the actual... I think that's like an hour preview, though, because I was under the impression this was going to be starting in quite a while. I don't really have the time to wait for it. I'm trying to get some dinner. Let's see when this actually starts. 10 a.m. PDT, so that would be... Oh, no. No, it is in 3 minutes, huh? Right? 10 a.m. PDT is... Crap, what time is that UTC? PDT makes me weird. I think that's 8 p.m. here. Yeah, it's 8 p.m. here, so... Oh, just doxed myself. So, it'll probably... I don't think I'll have the time to stick around for this. I'm trying to go have dinner. Well, let's see. If they open up with Star Wars, I'll stick around. Otherwise, I'm going to head out. Yeah, funding relies on people being able to play the game. Oh, I miss Black Flag. That was such a good Assassin's Creed. Sure, Jared has said it many times in different ways. Yeah, he probably has. I'm probably not giving him enough credit there. Could we endure a much buggier game in favor of it? There's always like a balance. You expect a new star map with Pyro? I think we'll get one with 4.0, yeah. They'll probably save the Star Wars gameplay until the end, huh? I don't think I'm gonna stick around for it. That's about it for me, guys. I think I'm gonna call it for today. I will probably watch this downstairs and then post a video about it tomorrow. So keep an eye on the second YouTube channel for that. In fact, I will go right now and I will release me and the Astropub's reaction to the Starfield showcase right now on my second channel on YouTube. I'll drop that link to you guys. Feel free to check that out. Take a look. see what our thoughts are live. Obviously, we just went through it together, so like you might be a little bit of deja vu, but if you are interested in that, we bounced off each other quite a bit. If my YouTube ever loads. There we go. There it is. Let me go ahead and post that up for you. And it's up. Here's a link if anybody's interested. All right. Sigelian's on. Man, why, like, this, the raid thing? Did I spell his name wrong? I can't find him. Did you spell his name wrong? The environments can usually be more efficient. Curious about that Star Wars game. Same. So am I. I hope that it's good. What is this? It's always funny when they like get these gaming conventions and shows and then they bring real people out onto the stage and we're like, we don't like real people. This is why we play video games. Make them go away. Please. Why aren't they dancing in game? All right, folks, thank you so much for joining me today. Well, I don't know why I can't find Sigelian. That's weird. Okay, I guess I'll just find somebody who's streaming some Star Citizen. I mean, they're good dancers, so there's that. I'm so confused. I don't understand why I can't find Sigelian. There he is. Okay. Oh, he's not live. Dang it, Drazen. He's not even online. I'm like sitting here trying to find this dude in the menu. Okay. In that case, I'm gonna throw you all onto HC Vertigo, I think. Oh, he just raided Dora. Okay, I see. All right, I'm gonna toss y'all on to HC Vertigo, folks. Thank you so much for joining me today. This has been good times talking about some Starfield. I will have some things to say about this show tomorrow. I'm not gonna be able to stay online for it, but I will have some things to say. Definitely about the Star Wars part. I will see you all later. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you all enjoyed the stream. Have a good day. Bye-bye.